PG stretch. Alright, let's go with this. I've just become an adolescent. Family expects more and more of you as you grow up. The teachers and tutors hired by your father keep you on your toes all the time. Your life these days is dedicated to studying for your future, for the future of the Brante family. Your younger brother Nathan keeps growing up too. He can hold a conversation now. You never refuse him when he comes to play, provided you have a bit of free time between the demanding lessons. Rainy day, father and mother have gone to a ball. They left Nathan in your care. You lose track of time over the books, and Nathan goes off to splash in the creek. Soon you hear his voice begging you to come outside. He's on the porch, sobbing, all covered in dirt. You walk up to him as he continues to bawl. It's all that kid. He pushed me into the ditch and called me names. He said I was a fancy pants fool. I said I'll call my brother. He's still there. You have to go punish him, Pimp. Nathan points at a lopsided wooden house further down the street where the poorer artisans live. You see two boys lingering there on porch. They are clearly both commoners, but far from poor. One of them is almost as tall as Nathan, and he frowns in a funny way, just like him. The other looks older, almost your age, but he is more broad-shouldered and taller. His name is Thomas. You've heard it before. There, Pimp, that's him. How old is he? Nathan points at the younger boy and hides behind your back. Thomas grins and rolls up his sleeves to reveal strong forearms. He must have been helping his father with manual labour for quite some time. Thomas Guerrero. Listen up, rich boys. We don't give a damn about you or your friendship. We don't let nobody call our home a stinking rat hole. Your little brother owned his ditch dive. Maybe next time he'll dress normal and stop picking fights with people who can throw him in the mud. Your hands clench into fists before you react. Nathan called them names first, no wonder they did the same. That's how it goes. But pushing your brother into a ditch is too much. Thomas stands tall and defiant. He sees no threat in you. You're about to get ready for a fight when you feel a tug on your sleeve. You turn your head to see Nathan, the one who started the whole mess. Fuck spirituality. Okay, so these all give us stuff. I can't do this, apparently, because I'm not close enough with Nathan. So fuck it, let's just fight. The bald-faced bully is taller and clearly stronger, but nobody talks to you like that. You leap at Thomas and start tearing into him. He jumps backwards, surprised by your assault. Takes him a moment to compose yourself, but now he's ready. His fists cover the face, and he attacks you with a quick jab. It is now your turn to take a step backward. You start trading blows, huffing and puffing with rage. Your younger brother is gawking all at the side. Thomas does not resort to fancy moves, dirty tricks, or stupid taunts. He displays nothing but skill earned in many a street fight, and his heavy fists aim for your head. You keep dodging him again and again, trying to reach him. He takes a couple of glancing blows, but easily shakes them off. What a bruiser. You start swinging your fists with greater and greater fury. Just a reminder, we're like 8 at this point. Yeah, we're 8. Your heart is pounding like a hammer. You see nothing but the floor in front of you. How much longer will this take? You're worn out. Your breath grows heavy, ragged, and your muscles grow heavy. But there's no way you can give up now. Nathan is watching you. Desperate and out of options, you swing and punch Thomas square in the nose, then immediately let his fist smack you in the temple. The blow rings through your head like a bell and blinds you for a moment. The world swims before your eyes. You clutch at your head to get your bearings. Thomas is standing in front of you, blood dripping from his nose. You no longer want to fight it out, and it seems your opponent would rather end it too. But you keep standing there, eyeing each other angrily. Then suddenly, you hear an angry shout right next to you. An enraged man in a craftsman's apron is shaking his fist. Thomas's face contorts in terror right away. It's my father. Run! The punishment for fighting is flogging, and the mere prospect of that makes you run like the wind. Thomas sprints in front of you. You dash across the rotten wooden planks of the back alley, up and over a lopsided fence, across a giant puddle in one leap, and then forward into the tall grass. You hide there and stay quiet. You hear no sound of pursuit. You exchange glances with Thomas and start laughing. His laughter is loud and infectious, but soon he cuts it short and grows sadder. Yeah, I'll get flogged anyway. What was his accent? My dad's always quick to give me a beating, and then he'll start negging me about the lots and the prayers for days, like he always does. Why do I always get myself mixed up in this stuff? The fighting's the only way you prove you're worth anything, right? The adults didn't see you fighting, you tell them, so all you have to do now is convince them that you weren't. Nosebleeds happen, right? Mother gets nosebleeds all the time. Well, we could try it. Let's hope our little brothers don't tell on us. I'll talk to mine. There's a scratch on your head. Don't let him see it. Good thing I didn't hit you in the face. There. Good as new. You assure him that Nathan will never tell, and in return you'll make sure he behaves himself so he won't get tossed in a ditch again. With that, you shake hands with Thomas. His handshake is as strong as you would expect, based on his fists. You make your way out of the tall grass. You need to leave before Thomas's father goes to your family and complains about you breaking your law. You come to a realization on the way back. You had no idea the place where you were hiding even existed, and it wasn't too far from home. Thomas smiles in excitement when he hears this. Oh, I know lots of places like that. I'll tell you what, if we get out of this mess today, I'll show you the way to the old wall. It's a perfect place to build forts. I dragged a bunch of wooden planks there. Too bad it's no fun to build all alone. My brother never helps. He just gets in the way. You emerge from the muddy back alleys, united by a secret only the two of you know. It seems you've made a friend today. Okay, I like that. We got a friend. We punch each other. Good way to make friends. It is a blistering hot day today, even for the sun-parched land of Magra. As soon as you are done with your studies, you dash outdoors and out of the stuffy room. You and Thomas roll up your shirt sleeves, but it barely helps. You would gladly go shirtless had you only been in the company of other boys. But there are 3 girls in the yard today. They're doing the laundry in a big wash tub, whispering and giggling. If you could, you would gladly keep watching one of them at work. She has big eyes of deep blue. Her dark hair is braided, and her plain grey dress is mended and patched all over. Her name is Sophia. She throws her head back a little when she laughs. The rays of the sun are reflected in her eyes. You, Thomas, and the other boys keep telling silly stories, anything to make her laugh. You sure love telling tall tales, Pimp? Oh, I remember this one time. Then Sophia hears a voice calling her home. She nods to you and runs across the street smiling. Her light steps carry her forward, but her eyes are looking elsewhere. But then a stone on the road catches her foot. She stumbles and falls flat into the dust. The street starts shaking from the thundering of hooves. Riders appear on the road from around the corner. They bear a coat of arms you recognise right away. A sable serpent blade upon a field of vert. It symbolises the Melanidas dynasty, the family of your province's archduke. Horses dash forward, a lost wooden toy on the road tracks under their hooves. They will not slow down, they are the nobles, and the rest must make way for them. Sophia is in their way, just now starting to get back on her feet. Mother is crying for her desperately from behind the fence door. You freeze in terrors. The riders surely see the girl. Are they going to stop, or are they going to trample her? In only a few moments, the beautiful girl will be toppled, trampled, and crushed. I literally can't do this, because I don't have enough willpower. Even though that's massively good. So I just have to stay here. Once the horses have gone and the dust settles, you finally see the road again, the repulsive blob of blood, flesh and bone. You can still see traces of Sophia in that mess. Her dark hair, the remains of her dress. It is no longer her. Sophia's earthly remains slowly dissipate and melt into the air. Her mother's eyes are filled with grief as she watches. She hunches over and slowly walks back into the house. You can still hear the riders, far away down the road. None of them even bothered to look back. Your friends walk away and are lost for words. You make your way home, dazed by what you have seen. You're still dazed as you retell these events to Mother, unable to look up from the floor. After a moment of silence, she embraces you and calms you down. Poor girl. What a terrible, painful death. But you must know that it was not her true death. By this wind's mercy, we are all given enough time in this world. Should you die before your time, you'll be brought back by their grace. For 3 times, they will rescue you from a terrible fate. but the forced death is true and final for all. Every loss of a life we were granted at our birth is a heavy blow to us, but the gods told us not to mourn lesser death. Everybody will keep on living as though nothing has happened, even Sophia's parents. Their family is poor, and they have no family crypt like we do. When the girl's soul comes back to life, her body will be reborn in the city church with all her wounds healed. Do not mourn her, my son, but thank the twin gods for their justice. You see Sophia by her house a few days later. She looks completely fine, without so much as a scratch. The other children tell you that her parents now forbid her to leave the yard after dying such an early first death. You call out Sophia's name. She looks at you briefly, then walks back inside. Sophia never talks to you again. Darn. I need some way to get willpower. Sophia disappeared after the terrible incident with the horses. Her friends gossiped that her parents sent her off to serve a rich noble dynasty. You haven't seen each other since that day, but you still remember Sophia's eyes, the sunlight shining in them. But no matter what, life goes on. You are 10 years old now. Your studies continue, and you are learning more about the land you live in. Anziot is an ancient city in an imperial province by the name of Magra. All soil in Magra was turned to ash eons ago, scorched by magic during the rebellion of Duke Melanidas, aka girl murderer. The magical arts are all but gone now, but the scorched earth has remained barren and infertile ever since. Since then, the entire province has been laying barren, tormented by cold and scorching winds in equal measure, with fruit, precious plants taking root on their own. Infertile land in Magra is brought elsewhere and brought here by an endless caravan of carts and carriages. To pay for food and soil, the cities in Magra became skilled in many trades, primarily mining and digging for metals and stone. Last fall there was an explosion just outside the old city, followed by clouds of thick smoke. The first such incident frightened the citizens, but then explosions and smoke became an everyday occurrence. Soon everyone grew used to it. Father explains that the miners are using a new invention called gunpowder. It makes it easier for them to reach the precious stones and metals buried deep within the earth. Then one day, a thunderous explosion rocks the city, and black, billowing smoke covers the houses. People are stuck in their homes, all windows shut tight. The air is impossible to breathe. Nathan coughs all the time. Gloria and you cough only when nobody is watching. If Mother hears it, she'll make you inhale those hot herbal vapours just like Nathan. It takes 2 days for the black smoke to disperse. People pour out on the streets to meet their friends. Thomas is eager to share everything he knows about this incident with you. They took lots of burn-up people to the city temple. Mum told me she was helping the healers. Again, his voice has changed completely. There are many rumours. Some claim it was a work of a beast stirred from slumber. Others say surviving witches that continue to threaten the order and the empire with their cursed powers. But as for you, you patiently wait for Father to come back home, and then you'll ask him about it. Father spends day and night working at the prefecture, while Mother spends all her time in prayer. It takes a full week for Father to finally come home, and he's almost completely spent. You muster enough courage during dinner to ask him what happened outside the city. Father raises his head, his face a bleak, weary mask, and starts muttering his proclamation. It's almost as if he doesn't see you. It's the mine outside the city. They were trying to get to a vein of ore. There was an explosion. The mine caved in, and the black smoke started flowing. Many workers died there. It's all because Count Velasco, who owns the mines, wanted them to start mining that vein before they were ready. Some of the workers weren't even reborn. Perhaps the twins thought their final time had come. The prefecture had been inundated with complaints from families that have lost their breadwinners, asking the judges for help. Many people also lost their cattle to the black smoke. Count Velasco brings gunpowder for the disaster. The prefecture and the newspapers just repeat whatever he says, but it's plain old greed and tyranny of a nobleman that are to blame. Why is the welfare of our province always paid for with commoner lives? Then without warning he grows silent again. You keep thinking about it for days. Can a human life really end so easily? A single moment of bad luck and you die, only to re-emerge from the temple or the family crypt with a new black mark on your arm. Or worse, you remain where you fell, dead, never to be reborn again, ever. During lunch, Father tells him to stay home in the evening and prepare to meet some important guests. Your older brother Stefan will return home by dinner tonight. Joining him will be your grandfather Gregor, as well as a noble friend of the family. You're excited about your brother's return. It has been years since you last saw him. How's he changed? Your father awaits Grace guests anxiously. The doorbell rings. 3 people are standing outside. Grandfather is the first to come in, naturally. He has not changed a bit since his last visit, still eyeing the house with contempt, looking for any reason to demean it. Grandfather is followed by a stately young man, dressed in a jacket embroidered in silver, whom you barely recognise as your brother. Stefan plants a dart at your threadbare clothes, your dirty fingernails, and smirks. Last to enter the house is a personable gentleman with a worn-out, wrinkled face. We've heard a lot about this man from father and grandfather. He is Baron Augustin Elborn, Stefan's uncle, a family friend, and the province's prefect, which means that he is a head judge and thus father's superior. Sir Elborn smiles lightly and offers you his hand. And this must be your younger son, Pimp, yes? You have your father's eyes, young man. Father bows slightly to grandfather and Sir Elborn, but there is a moment of quiet when Stefan's turn comes. Father reaches out to him awkwardly, expecting his embrace. There is a question in Stefan's eyes as he looks at grandfather. The old man shakes his head almost imperceptibly. We noblemen ought to put our emotions on public display, Father, not even after a lengthy separation. There is no embrace. Instead, Stefan nods to Father curtly. He responds in kind, his face devoid of emotion. After the greeting, he proceeds to the sitting room. Elborn is the first to enter. He kisses his mother's hand, and Gloria's too, and tussles Nathan's hairs after he sees them hiding by the table. Grandfather acknowledges them with a glum nod. Greetings, Lydia Briant. I remember you were kind to me when I was but a child, and you must be Nathan, who could barely walk when I saw you last. The older brother ignores Gloria completely. Not even a greeting. You proceed to the dining room in a dignified manner, take your seats. The dishes smell delicious, but they merely punctuate the overwhelming tension at the table. Elborn is the only one with a friendly smile on his face. The dinner is splendid, Lydia. Did you choose the dishes yourself? You have truly a refined palate. It warms my heart to know Stefan spent his early years with you. Womanly care does a child good, no matter the estate. Your fork freezes in the air halfway to your mouth. You expect many things from a noble of a sword, but words of praise for a low-born woman are not one of them. You cast a glance at grandfather. He looks like he is about to choke on those words. It would do my grandson more good to stay at boarding school amongst his equals. Please, Gregor, parenting is no less important. Nothing can replace the mother's love. I cannot deny it. It saddens me greatly that my late sister could not be there to raise Stefan, but there was still a family for him, and he was surrounded by love. How could that be the bad? And besides, his father was by his side all the while. A father's example is always the best. After all, Robert earned the judge's rank the same way you did. Your grandson will surely follow in your footsteps. And who knows, perhaps even the younger men of the Brante family will contribute to that. You clumsy low-born cretin! Everybody startled by this sudden outburst. Grandfather's face turned red. He's glaring at a young lady servant holding a pitcher over a glass. Savannah is sitting right next to her, dabbing a napkin on a fresh stain on his jacket. Begone this instant! The lady servant runs away, leaving the pitcher on a small table by the door. After a quiet moment, Elborn smiles again. It appears the servant has left us, yet dinner is far from over. Worry not, Uncle. There are enough commoners at this table to keep us served with food and drink. Fuck you. Stefan glares at Gloria across the table. She's sitting right next to you. She shrinks down and hunches over her gaze. Father furrows his brows. Mother covers her mouth with trembling hands. Grandfather sneers. Stefan's gaze does not move. The silence lasts far too long. Then she starts to rise from her chair. If the Brante gentleman so wishes. Your hands clench into fists under the table. How can he bring himself to humiliate his own family, his own mother and sister like this? It is all grandfather's doing. Stefan could not even bring himself to embrace father without his permission. And yet they are noblemen, and they have the right to act this way. If there is any way this dinner can become even more unbearable, you do not want to see it. Okay. I'm going for the one that gives me willpower. And the one that supports my sister. refill glasses, serve food, and clear away dirty dishes. Sir Elborn tries to make small talk with father, but in vain, so he focuses his attention on grandfather and Stefan. Grandfather is pleased to inform him of Stefan's achievements at the boarding school, especially his exemplary sword fighting skills. He constantly stresses the importance of your elder brother for the future of your family. You listen to him dispassionately as you continue serving new dishes to the table. As you wait at the nobleman's table, you, your sister and mother never bump into each other. Your labour is impeccable. Grandfather could not have found fault with it even if he tried. Your shoulders and back are aching, but being a manservant inside your own home hurts even more. When the guests finally leave, Mother and Gloria embrace you with relief. You did not neglect your relatives and shared their humiliation, and the composure that you have shown gave you new strength. Okay, now I've got some willpower. Next time one of my friends is going to get run over, I can actually do something. Noble residents of Antioch prefer to remain in their chambers while the commoners huddle in tents or in the shade of the silver tree. You're on an errand right now. Your father wrote a letter to a noble acquaintance and you are to deliver it. Thomas, the boy down the street, is taking along. The two of you are inseparable now. The errand is an easy one, so you decide to take this opportunity to loiter around the part of Antioch where the nobles live. So here you are in the middle of the city square, resting on ancient brickwork, by the old fountain in the merciful shade of the gargantuan silver tree. Thomas is by your side, lazily slouching on the edge of the fountain's base. It's hard life for commoners like you and me. Either you break your back in a workshop day and night, hoping someone will buy you good someday, or you become a manservant to some noble. You never get a chance to enjoy life. This is our lot, you remind him. We work and endure and suffer. But Thomas waves your words away. Yeah, I know all that already. Mother keeps drilling that stuff into me. We must be humble. Our strength is patience and persistence. So yeah, I say. But I want to make my fortune no matter what. So how ain't that living by my lot, I ask you? But the lots, they ain't easy. Let's take you for example, Brant. Your father's a nobleman, but even if that didn't make you one, just look at your hands. You never had to work as hard as me. But we have the same lot, so we're supposed to suffer the same. Or look at your father. He's a judge. He toils at the prefecture day and night doing his judging, and he's a noble. I've never seen an Archnean work as hard as he does. The Archneans are a different race. The books say they were born to rule over humans. They are never commoners, always nobles as a sword by birth. They founded the empire after subduing all the human kingdoms on the continent. Humans will never be their equals. Archneans are always better, smarter, stronger, and their skin is a noble shade of blue. If the books are to be believed, of course. You have never seen one yourself. You've got literal blue birds. Just in case you weren't getting the social commentary. Your idle chatter is suddenly interrupted by a rugged-looking guardsman dressed in black and green. He chases you away from the fountain. Common rabble like you have no place here. You hear the clattering of hooves and wheels against the cobblestones and see flags bearing a coat of arms. A sable serpent on a field of vert. It makes you squirm. It's the Archduke's coat, the Melanius, that dynasty. The carriage door opens, revealing a young lady in a luxurious dress. You cannot look away from her. The dainty soldiers are suggested but not revealed by the cut of her dress. They look pretty fucking revealed. Her black hair cascading over them. Her stately slim silhouette. Her pouty lips and prim nose, and those eyes dark like the night sky. The way she moves, fluidly, gracefully. And most incredible of all, her skin glows in azure blue. She is a masterpiece given life. She is an Archnean. Clear the way for me! The land needs work quickly. Searing sun dances on her skin in bizarre patterns. With one elegant motion, she reveals a handkerchief, leads over the basin and wipes her head and neck with its cool water. Well, I be. That's Octavia Melanius, her Archduke's own daughter. The Archnean turns away and proceeds gracefully back to her carriage. You see something slip out of hand and fall onto cobblestones right next to you. A handkerchief. It's right there by your feet. Intricate craftsman, expensive woven fabric, delicately decorated with emerald filigree. Your heart skips a beat. You dare draw the beautiful Archnean's attention in order to return the lost possession? Would you rather not attempt to cross the chasm between you and her? Why does Thomas prefer it if I don't? I don't want to spend the willpower I just got. I'm actually just going to build my relationship with Thomas and keep the willpower going up. It is tempted to go after the elven lady, but no. It's time to show him how to start earning that fortune. Your eyes single out a travelling peddler in the crowd. When you finally get his attention, you pull a splendid handkerchief from your pocket. Peddler smirks knowingly. Fine as keepers, and the noble who lost it certainly won't be weeping over it. Truth be told, it is a truly exquisite handkerchief. It still looks quite presentable and will fetch a fair price. After some haggling with a stingy peddler, you trade it for 4 small fortune, 4 coins. Half of this you give to Thomas. But it's all your handiwork, Pimp. You just grin at him. He can find the next handkerchief. Thomas laughs and you head off to the fruit stall together. Years old now, you overhear an important conversation. Spring night, and Mother has just sent everyone to bed. You walk past Father's study. You hear voices from beyond the door. Grandfather is yelling, and Father is replying quietly. The elder Brante and men are fighting, arguing about the place of the commoners in the city. You sneak outside to avoid Mother's attention and hide next to the open window of the study. Perhaps they'll mention you too. That low-life idiot had the gall to pay me a visit and beg for some service. He had the insolence to ask me outright. He thought I was going to support his claim for the chairman's seat in the lesser quorum. How dare he? Father, please listen. Mayor Egmont may be lowborn, but he carries a lot of clout in Magra. He owns 5 iron mines. A friend like him could be quite useful, should he become the chairman of the lesser quorum. I don't give a damn who this Egmont is, Robert. Whatever he is, however, is lowborn. His lot is humility and obedience. The likes of him can never rule anything. They're nothing but a flock of sheep that need firm, noble hand to guide them. I wasted so many years trying to quash that quorum decree, but that accursed Cornelius Tempest did everything in his power to make the Emperor sign that pathetic screed. And now even lowlifes can wield power. True power, Robert. Just the right to discuss the size of the Archduke's tax. Nothing more. That is only the beginning. What's next? Are they going to arm the lowlifes now? Make them into judges? If the Empire rejects the foundations and the lots, the entire edifice will crumble. Bah, who am I telling this to? It is already crumbling, and you, my son and heir, are a harbinger of its destruction. Father, I'm begging you. I do not wish to marry a 3rd time. Lydia is a good wife and a dutiful mother to my children. If you would only allow her to. I will allow them nothing. Neither Egmont nor that freeloading wench of yours. What will you want me to do next? Live by the laws of the lowborn? I can already see where this is going, and I'd rather run my own sword through my gut than live in a country where nobles and lowlife share the same rights. That's acceptable to me. My only dream is to see the name of Brante in the Blue Book. That dream will never come true. They will never call me Venerable El Brante, and it's all because of this marriage of yours. My only hope now is to hear Stefan addressed in such a manner one day. Thank the twins I didn't let you ruin the boy. He's about to grow up a true nobleman. His children will bear the name of El Brante. You have 2 more grandsons. Those spineless milksops from the common lot, they're incapable of anything. The best your middle son could do is sneak into the Imperial College and get ennobled by the mantle, although I have grave doubts about even that. As for the downtrodden Nathan, I held out no hope for him whatsoever. Wait. Okay. Start studying at the school of Sir Tibor and begin to master the sciences. Finally the day comes when the teachers stop coming to the house. But before you can breathe a sigh of relief and put away the books, Father asks you to come to his study. You've grown, my son. It is time for you to continue your education away from home. I've chosen a deserving school for you. Sir Tibor's school for the children of noblemen and well-off commoners. Naturally, it is not a boarding school for nobles, so you will study there during the day and come home in the evening. You share the news with your best friend Thomas. Sir Tibor's school, eh? Yeah, I gotta ask my parents to send me there too as soon as they get the coin together. Father says his workshop has stored day and night for years to save up for my education. The school is based on an ancient estate of Archean design. Classrooms are tall and spacious with massive benches. The sounds of scraping quills and lectures on history and imperial law and theology echo under the vaulted ceilings. The rules are strict, the lessons tiring. Restless Thomas keeps getting distracted, and several times he gets his hand slapped with a stick for it. Every teacher demands flawless mastery of their subject. Every day Father asks you about your studies. You've already told him twice how Magra joined the Empire and how the Nobles' Court of Honour is different from the Commoners' Civil Court in the city prefecture, but Father keeps pressuring you to work even harder. When it's time to go to bed, Mother will not let you go to sleep until you recite a newly learned prayer for her. And when it is time to go to school, you promise her every day that you will behave with great humility and steer clear the insolent behaviour of any kind, for you still live by the Commoner's lot, and that lot is hard work and suffering. The first month in school draws to a close, and the teachers announce that there will be exams at the end of the month to determine the best and the worst students in each subject. Father insists that you devote all your spare time to studying law and history if you wish to follow in his footsteps. But when you speak to Mother every day, you start considering theology. You still remember the revelations and divine visions that came to you in your earliest years. I'm not doing theology. You have only one more day until the exam. You've locked yourself away in your room. It's already getting late. Your desk is covered with handwritten notes surrounded by leather-bound books. Just looking at them makes you queasy, but you have to read through all of them again, at least for one of your subjects. There's a nagging thought on your mind. Thomas ended in big trouble the other day. He got in a fight with several boys who lived next street. They heard about your wooden fortress and got in an outrage by the fortification built by commoners. They swore to dismantle it tonight. Thomas swore he would defend the fortress until the end. The door is locked. Are you okay, Pimp? Is there anything I can do to help? The head is spinning. This is the last evening before the school exam. If you fail, your family will be very disappointed. You have to repress your memory on law or theology. But Thomas and your fort are all about to be stormed. Why today of all days? Nathan is by the door, trying not to bother you. He wants to help you the only way he can, for reasons known only to him. Will you accept his help? I want to do law and history and get the nobility. I want to do this to get the willpower, but I don't think Nathan can actually help me. He does seem kind of useless. And Thomas is my bro, and I feel like I'm trying to go for a military type of style, but I don't know if the nobility would help that more. But we don't actually have much stats in anything. It doesn't look like I'm going to get any of these, since I wasn't able to save Sophia and I turned away the Arcanian, Octavia. I'm nowhere near these unless I really start going for it, and I do want Ingenuity 4. God, it would haunt me if I didn't help my bro. I gotta help Thomas. Push Nathan out of the room. He cannot possibly help you prepare for the exam. Once you're sure nobody's behind the door, you open the window and climb out in the yard over the fence. You run like the wind to your wooden fort where Thomas is in peril. Battle for the fort has already begun. When Thomas is cornered, he swings a loose wooden plank, fending off 3 boys at once. This is not a fair fight by any means. Your friend is rugged enough to have a fighting chance against 2 of them, but 3 is too many for him to handle alone. Where have you been, Pimp? They're about to smash our fort. Get 'em! You flank the assailants and slam into them at full speed, channeling the cavalry of the holy warriors. You take them by surprise, you pull one of the aggressors away and knock him out with a punch to the jaw. Thomas cheers you on. You team up and make short work of the remaining foes. Your enemies retreat in shame. Thomas got a black eye and his knuckles are all covered in blood, but he looks unusually pleased with himself. Couldn't have done it without you. Just look at them trying to tell us where to build our fort. Okay, time to fix her up. Okay, we didn't fail. And not studying for our exams gives us ingenuity. Not really sure how or why, but whatever. As you study imperial law, you come to realise that there is a certain hierarchy even within the noble estate. It seems your father's status is not quite equal to that of the more eminent human and Archean gentry. You return home with this new information at your disposal. Father asks you about your school after dinner, as he always does. And what is the difference between nobles of the mantle and those of the sword, Pimp? You already have an answer ready. The latter status is hereditary, meaning that it's passed down from father to son. After the Archeans, nobles of the sword are the most eminent humans in the empire. They own land and estates, they fill offices of the highest rank, and the names of their bloodlines are preserved in the Great Blue Book. Nobility of the sword can only be granted by the overseer of the province or the emperor himself. And how are such eminent people addressed? With the honorific L before their last name. Father pats you on the shoulder, clearly pleased. Now what about the Archeans and their status? What have you learnt about them? The Archeans stand above all human gentry. They are born to rule over humans, regardless of their titles. No L is required when addressing them. They need no honorifics, for the names of their ancient dynasties are known to all. Father nods somberly. Yes, we can never be their equals. Do whatever an Archean tells you, and never defy them. Ever. And what about grandfather and me? Where do we stand as nobles? That is easy. Father and grandfather are nobles of the mantle. The title cannot be inherited, but it can be earned by any commoner as reward for great service to the Empire and the Legion, or as a civil servant. Father suddenly goes quiet and looks you in the eye intently. Yes, and someday you will earn a noble title too, son, all in due time. The civil school teaches children of all stripes. Nobles of the mantle and noble parents can send their sons here, and every passing day the children of the noblemen invent new ways to snub and bully the commoners. Most of the time the bully leading them is Daedric, the son of the secretary for the Imperial Chancellery and a self-important slob. The sons of noblemen never pick on you, however. They know that your father has been ennobled by the mantle. However, Daedric and his retinue soon choose Thomas as their favourite victim. Time and time again you ask your friend not to pay them any mind, but again and again Thomas grows angry and snaps at their self-satisfied mockery. It is early morning. The students are busy flocking to the classroom for the next lesson. You wave Thomas over when you see him. He waves back at you, and then a bucket full of slop splashes on him. Needless to say, it is work of Daedric and his entourage. You hear his familiar creaky laughter. The tailor's son stinks. How dare he sit next to decent folk? Thomas clenches his fists. You're dead, Daedric. He throws himself at Daedric's horde. Be in charge. Like a soldier ready to wage war, he attacks them first. This is just what they expected and they are free to retaliate. He barely waits one movement before 4 pairs of hands grab him at once. Daedric sneers and kicks your friend in the belly. Thomas gasps and starts coughing. You stand between them as Daedric readies another kick. The nobleman's son cocks an eyebrow. Why do you mingle with commoners, he asks. Your father is a noble of the mantle. You ought to be friends with your own kind, your equals, not the dirt beneath your feet. Behind him, 4 boys hold Thomas down as he struggles furiously. The other students are watching you, frozen in fear. Daedric coldly extends a hand to you. He clearly expects you to shake it. What will you do? Well, definitely not this. I have no idea why I would ever do this. I don't want to be a snitch. I do want the ingenuity, but I can't snitch. Doesn't sit well with me, so I'm gonna fight him. Instead, you challenge Daedric to display at least some dignity by fighting you one-on-one. That is, if he considers himself a nobleman's son, of course. Daedric's face grows serious. There is no way for him to refuse this challenge in public. Daedric makes a sign and Thomas is released and pushed to the floor. He gets back on his feet, cursing and itching to rush back at him, but you hold your friend back. The teacher of Imperial Law comes into the room just in time. Everyone immediately turns to their seats. A day full of lessons begin. You keep daydreaming of Daedric's face and how you were going to put an end to that nasty smile of his. Let's catch that bastard together and clean his clock. He hurt me, not you. The deal has been made, and you tell your friend. It's a matter of your honour now. Thomas huffs angrily, but agrees. Daedric is already waiting for you in a narrow back street by his school, his retinue by his side. You walk forward and give him the opportunity to end this dispute once and for all. This is the nobleman's way. If you win this battle, Daedric and the other children and nobles will never pick on the commoner sons again. If he wins, you will never stand in their way and protect other students. You'll fight him one-on-one. Daedric walks forward uncertainly. You both roll up your sleeves. You raise your fist in a fighting stance. Daedric tries to copy your movements. You hit him first. Daedric does manage to land several glancing blows, but he is fighting a losing battle. He has never been in a real street fight. Thomas nods in approval. You've learnt a lot from him. It does not take long for Daedric to stop fighting back. One more blow and he squeals and raises his hands. You have won. You turn to the other nobleman's face with a victorious look upon your face. No more teasing, and if anyone else so much as says one bad word about Thomas, they'll pay. I wanted ingenuity so I could help out my sister, but instead I'm just going noble. The geology teachers tell you more about Antioch. It's more than just a continental capital. It's also a sacred place blessed by the gods. It's where the twins' gods' first disciples spilled their blood, and from that blood grew the sacred silver tree. The enormous foliage hangs over the city. You see its branches in the sky every day, but you never approach the trunk of the tree yourself. Today you will be taking your first trip to the silver tree. Your class is visiting a great service in the temple by the tree's very roots. Thanks to your theology teacher, you and the other students will witness this landmark of the twins' advent up close. Everybody is excited. Soon you and the other boys enter the slums surrounding the church district of Antioch. The roots are pulsating under your feet. They spread underground all throughout the area. Pathetic cramped hovels and filthy streets surround the trunk of the tree. They are home to paupers, day labourers and preachers. The people of the district bow humbly to you and point you towards the temple. They seem at peace despite the abject poverty in which they live. All who live directly beneath the tree are filled with its divine grace, your teacher says. People come here to make peace with the world and their fate in it. Your class is unusually quiet. Everyone is listening to the rustling of the leaves and the underground beating of the roots. The sky above you is obscured by the tree's canopy. You find the temple of the twins' gods right next to the tremendous trunk of the tree. It almost seems a part of it. There is a crowd there, pilgrims dressed in travelling clothes, paupers and beggars, common people of the city, and the occasionally well-dressed noble. There are arguments among some people who are gathered in separate small groups. Many people are wandering around, staring upward at the tree's branches. The tree impresses you with its might and calm emanating from it. You are filled with a desire to sit down and think of the world, to learn something about yourself, to touch the silver white bark and hearken to the whispering leaves. You are distracted enough to fall back from the rest of your classmates. You notice a small path, which should take you right next to the trunk. A tall red-haired woman walks out of the crowd of pilgrims. She is wearing a worn white robe, no longer young, but her face is youthful and covered in freckles. Her hands clutch a book. You have never seen this lady pilgrim before, yet she looks at you almost as if she has recognised a lifelong friend. She beckons you and says her name, Matilda, a preacher from Astinia. What she says next shakes you to your very core. It is commendable to see a young man so keen to learn the teaching of the twins, she says. Yet you will never follow the light of truth within the walls of the temple. Inside you will find only the lies about the lots, the erring words of prophet Isatius, sanctified by the passage of centuries. Yet anyone who sets out to read the accounts of the twins' own lives knows that they never so much as mention their lots. The red-haired preachers frighten you. They clash with everything you've ever heard from Mother, nothing you have ever been taught at school. The lots are a lie. You freeze in fear. Should you argue with Matilda or ask for more information? Should you treat her as a man-woman and catch up with your classmates? Suddenly feel a small warm hand on your own, grasp your own. You see a girl right next to you. She is just a little older than you, wearing a black dress threadbare yet almost spotless. Hair is covered by a handkerchief with only a single golden lock showing. No, it's not. Brown eyes are burning with rage, her hand pulling you away from the red-haired preacher. You stare in confusion at a strange young girl, your cheeks flushed by the sun touch. There's just a bit of colour on her cheeks too. Then she starts speaking to you quickly. Don't listen to her. She's dangerous. Come to the temple with me. Only there will you see the truth. Stand there surrounded by the crowd of the praying pilgrims and sound of shuffling feet, torn between two people you have never seen before, and each of them expects you to follow her. But all the while you hear the whispering, the wind and the bruised branches. The branches reach out for you, almost as if the tree wishes to speak to itself. Can you hear its voice? I guess we follow her into the tree. We need to get Matters of the Heart ticked off, I think. She introduces you to her name is Jean. It's filled with of light is separated into two halves, just like the other temple in the district. One for commoners and one for the nobles. This temple is far more grand than that one. You see two towering statues by the altar, carved with impeccable detail. They depict the twins. The older bears an emphatic smile. The younger has a stern look about him. They are depicted in the garments of pilgrims, frozen in their eternal journey to meet one another. My uncle is one of the priests in this temple. I'm an acolyte. I work in the temple, helping, clean the temple and cook food for the poor. And they also greet the worshippers. People come here all the time. Many are lost and they don't know where to go once they're inside. But nobody should feel lost in this place. The temple is for all of the estates. Jen's face is no longer angry. The red-haired preacher is not forgotten. She is like a warm ray of light under the roof of the grand bright temple. Is she happy in her service to the twins? Of course I am. This is where I belong. Inside the temple I feel the twins watching me over me all the time. When I'm with them, I'm never afraid, never sad. She looks at the statues when she mentions the twins and smiles at them as if they are her close friends. Do you feel it too? You too turn your eyes to face the twin gods. You feel the eyes of the elder upon you. They feel warm, warm like mother's loving words. You feel virtue and order in the eyes of the younger. They feel like father's word of pride and respect. I need to stop chewing gum. We make to go. Another school day has ended. We're making our way home. Mulling things we learned from our teachers. The founding of the empire, the eternal and unshakable rule of a single dynasty, 3 estates. What an odd sort of order the world has, and yet so mysterious. At least it sounds that way when your teacher talks about it. I need to turn the light on. Mother is waiting for you on the porch. She smiles gently when she sees you, and yet her expression still shows great concern. Father left on a trip to several distant Magran towns a few days ago. Since then, Mother has been trying to tell you something, but she seems uncertain. Son, could you put your things away and pray with me? You join Mother in a prayer to the twins. She prays with fervent sincerity, her head bowed low, reciting the words of obedience to them and their greater design in a barely audible whisper. You repeat after her, just as she has taught you ever since you were a little boy. When the prayer ends, Mother sighs and turns to you. Pimp, my son, you are 13 now. You'll be grown soon. It's time you learned about certain things that are important to our family. Difficult things. It's about your father and me. About our marriage. You gaze curiously into Mother's eyes. I'm sure you've wondered about this before. Your father is a nobleman of the mantle, so how could he marry a commoner with another man's child? But you see, Pimp, your father, when his first wife Amelia Elborn died, it was a painful blow to him. He lost the will to live, lost all purpose. He felt like his own destiny was cut short that day as well. And then he met me. You know the troubles I had in the past. I went to the prefecture as a petitioner to ask them for help, protection, justice. When I was a young girl, I worked at a small shop that sold crockery and dishes. A nobleman took a liking to me. May his name be forever forgotten. The twins know I was humbled and honoured, his lot to rule, but he took me by force. Mother falls silent, summoning the courage to continue. Gloria is that nobleman's daughter, but he was outraged. How could I have the gall to burden him with low-born progeny? He turned me out on the street with that little baby girl in my arms. I had no home, no honour, nowhere to go, no one to help me. When I went to the prefecture, I didn't really think the judges there would help me find justice against my former master. But when Sir Robert heard my plea, his eyes met mine, and I believe that, at that very moment, the twins themselves granted him the gift of their love. My father told me that there was nothing he could do to make that detestable nobleman marry me, but he would never abandon me in Baby Gloria, and if I agreed, he would take me into his own home. And I knew it, my son. I knew how much his honour and reputation would suffer, but caring for me brought him back to life. It's like he experienced another sacrament. He rediscovered his noble purpose, his lot to rule and protect and care for others, but his decision to marry me. He is still paying for it today. Your father had the courage to defy your grandfather, the founder of his bloodline. If only you knew how much he had to endure, my son. If only you knew the despicable rumours we heard about the Brants all over Anne's yacht. It was only thanks to the effort of Sir Gregor that the Brant bloodline managed to hang on with what little remained of its reputation. You know, the noble families have all but forgotten about that scandal. Thank the twins. Mother falls silent. She looks at you intently. Do you understand what she is telling you? My son, I'm not telling you this just to share the pain of my past. I have no reason to complain. Even Sir Gregor has accepted me, through gritted teeth. But you need to understand the heavy burden our family must bear, including our scandalous marriage and Gloria's foul origin. And Gloria, she can never be a Brante. Even if the elder Brantes agreed, the news would stir up the old scandal in the minds of high society. And if that were to happen, Pimp, they would see even your birth as illegitimate. What I told you just now is something you have to know, my son. You are about to enter adult life. By my lot, I must be humble. I cannot tell you how to treat your family. But may I ask you this question? Now that you know all this, do you still see Gloria as your sister? Yeah. Filled with determination, you assure Mother that Gloria is and will always be your sister. You want Gloria to be a Brant too. You want her to become part of your family. Who cares what the noble Fran's yacht says? Mother beams with quiet joy when she hears this. Oh, Pimp, if only you knew how happy that would make me. To have our family united at last. And with the joy on her face quickly gives way to concern. But I already owe good Sir Robert a debt I can never repay. He's given my daughter so much, home and education, his care and advice. The Brant bloodline could suffer so much from Gloria's existence. We should all just learn to accept her status as it is. Just then you hear Gloria carefully knock at the door of her mother's chambers. Mother, Pimp, I couldn't find you. You happily greet your sister. Yes, she is your sister. No odd secrets can ever change that. Mother gives you and Gloria a kiss on the forehead and returns to her prayers. You and your sister walk downstairs together. Mother is alone by her bedside now, thanking the twins with a quiet prayer for the Brante family they have given her. You hope they can hear her. You're 13 now, another theology lesson. Today's sermons is about the priest and why clergy is the only one of the three estates whose right is to interpret the lots. You guide the other two estates accordingly. Thomas sits next to you, huffing and puffing as he fervently writes down the teacher's every word. But you've heard all this from Mother many times, so you take this moment to daydream a little. Father promised to take you to the capital once your studies are complete. The teacher suddenly casts a stern look around the lecture hall and raises his voice to one of your classmates. A boy named Brian jumps out of his seat. The teacher asks him to repeat what he had just said. Brian freezes and seems to shrink. He tries to muster a reply, but nothing comes out. The class becomes agitated. Someone is about to get punished. The teacher now looms over Brian. The boy's cheeks are flushed and his eyes are covered in tears. You watch the teacher's iron-bound book as he raises it sharply, about to strike. Brian shrieks and raises a hand in front of him. Sudden flash, the teacher screams and buries his hand in his arms. His hair is ablaze and his skin is covered in horrible burns. It's magic, real magic. Just like in the books about the Magva Rebellion. The class freezes in shock. There is a dull thud as the iron-bound book falls to the floor. Brian's hysterical laughter rends the silence. He stands up from his bench, fire in his eyes and sparks on his fingertips. There are screams now. Students run for the door. The teacher tries to extinguish his burning hair. Brian snaps his finger and the book of Isatius on the desk turns into pillars of flame. He laughs and raises his arms and the curtains catch fire. So we've got a school shooter going down. The screams grow louder as the fire howls. Brian's face is tense and violent. His mouth is spewing flames and his whole body is shaking with laughter. He steps towards the door. You and Thomas glance at each other. He's going to burn the whole school down. Your friend's determination makes you brave. You run behind Brian and knock him off his feet. You both tumble to the floor. Even through his clothes, his body sears your flesh. Brian screams, convulses, and grabs Thomas by the shoulders with his burning hands. Thomas howls but stays put, then knocks Brian senseless with 7 fierce blows to the head. There's servants fussing around the room now. They put out the fire and take away the teacher, his body covered in horrible burns. You and Thomas remain next to Brian, who is lying on the floor silent. Soon 3 men in black cloaks enter the door of the school, each bearing an edict sealed with silver. The Inquisition. You and Thomas are told to step away from the witch. They lock Brian's neck in a silver collar and take him away. One of the Inquisitors remains behind to tell the students what happened. That was magic, he explains. The ungodly power that twists the minds of men into savage instruments of murder. Only the sacred shackles of silver can hold it at bay. Only the power of twins can save us all from its evil grasp. Next day you are forbidden from ever mentioning O'Brien's name again. Use no more. The great day looms ahead. 100 years ago, Uther Tempest was anointed to rule over the Empire. Blessed with the twins themselves, it continues into its 2nd century. Celebrations in honour of the Tempest dynasty are held throughout the city, and the school is closed for 2 weeks because of that. One of these evenings, Father tells everyone that Grandfather is going to bring Stephen back home for the holiday. A family should celebrate the Day of Anointment together. You could benefit from your elder brother's company. With his noble education, Stefan might be able to teach you how noblemen are supposed to act. Soon Stefan arrives. He now handles himself differently. When it comes to ordering servants around and ignoring Gloria, he is still Grandfather's double, but he's more grown up now and far less haughty to you. It is a dark winter evening. A damp, cold wind sweeps through the city from the barren lands of Magra. You and Stefan are sitting in the library. He is telling you all about Eterna, the capital of the Empire. It is full of so many wonders. The Imperial Palace, the enormous Temple of the Twins, the Military Academy, the Imperial College. You have read so much about these places, and yet you have seen them firsthand. Nathan enters the library. He looks concerned. I can't find Gloria. I've looked everywhere. She's not in the kitchen, not in the sitting room, not in the attic. I heard she wanted to sneak off to the ruins of Charmilandius Palace. She could be lost in there. You and Stefan exchange looks. Charmilandius, a rebellious duke. The ruins of his palace are a dangerous place. Some children claim his tainted magic still lingers there, which means you absolutely have to make your way there and back again to prove you are not afraid of the long-dead witch. Your brother tells you to wait. He leaves and soon returns with his sword in its sheath. Get ready, Pimp. We're going to rescue Gloria. She must have gone to the ruins in search of inspiration for another of her little rhymes. The two of you instruct Nathan to tell your parents that you've gone for a walk in the square. You and your elder brother head outside. You're confused by Stefan's actions. He refuses to treat Gloria like a human being, so why is he still determined to rescue her? Stefan notices your expression. Are you wondering why I care about Gloria all of a sudden? I can't act in any other way, can I? The law of honour compels me to protect my family. Gloria will never be a Brante, but Father still took her into our house. I must respect his seniority and defend Gloria like she is one of her own. You are a Brante too, noble or not, which means it is your duty to aid me. The ruins of Charmilandi's palace span an entire district. Abandoned centuries ago, its remnants are overgrown with thick underbrush. The ruined palace is empty, nothing but cold wind blowing over crumbling brickwork. Even worse, scum of the land steer clear of this place. Oh, see, alright, Lucas. How long have you been there? Make your way through the ruins until you spot scattered sheets of paper covered in writing. Your sister's writing. You hear loud laughter coming from behind a dilapidated stone wall nearby. You pull yourself up to peer over it. Gloria is lying on the ground, face down, twitching and sobbing. A gaggle of drunk young thugs around her, cackling and swinging their arms about. With a shout, look at the lass sitting here rhyming words together. She thinks she's all noble. Why don't you worry, you low-born tart? Where can I teach you your place? One of the louts spits at Gloria as she lies there. Get away from her this instant, you bastards, or I'll spill your guts. They respond with mocking laughter. Stefan draws his sword. The street thugs recoil in fear, but they soon notice that he is only one-armed man against many. They start reaching out for sticks and stones. Stay by my side. Don't let them flank me. Stefan's hand shakes, but he looks ready for battle. He is outnumbered. For a moment you hesitate. Perhaps it might be better to run the nearby district and call the guards. The young thugs are already armed with makeshift weapons. They start approaching you and Stefan cautiously. Seems like the smartest thing to do, and I guess I'll take the nobility. Stefan's firm voice fills you with confidence. You follow your noble brother's order. It takes a moment to grab a stick, and then you are at Stefan's back, angrily swinging at the louts as they try to bring him down. One of the louts lunges at your brother with a stone, but you hit him with a stick and he falls down right at Stefan's feet. His sword flashes. The blade sinks deep into the young man's stomach. He wheezes. Blood starts pouring onto the ground. The thugs freeze. Stefan pulls out a sword, his face an inscrutable mask, and returns to his fighting stance. You are stunned to see Stefan takes on another man's life so easily and effortlessly, like picking his own teeth. The thugs look like they are about to flee. There is rage and confusion on their faces. They never expected the young nobleman to use that sword. Stefan just scoffs at them. Lowborn scum, that's all you are. This is the only language you understand. Good job, brother. Gloria, get up. We're going home. She turns to glance at your sister, giving the enraged thugs just enough time to rush you. You get separated from Stefan. Your back is against the wall now. They hit you hard in the stomach, then the face, then the side of your head. The mind slips away. When the darkness disperses, you find yourself lying in your bed. Stefan is in the armchair next to you, reading a book. He is alive, with a left arm in a sling and a black eye that's still alive. Your head is spinning, and you feel nauseous. You try your best to sit up. Stefan looks up from the book. Don't try to get up. You lost a lot of blood. I suppose that was a few thugs too many for a single warrior, even with a good backup. I'm impressed. We fought like an army. The noble orders, the commoner obeys, all according to our lots. We defended the family's honour together. You know, brother, the nobleman's lot is also a great burden that few are able to bear. It takes courage, not to fight everything you see, but to do your duty. Each and every decision a nobleman makes become a part of his family's legacy, flowing in the blood tide forever. I think about it often. A noble mustn't act weak, a noble mustn't suffer like people of the lowborn lot. A noble must rule over them wisely, a noble must ensure that they have work to do. It's not merely your own lot you have to look after, you have to ensure that 1,000 others can live by their lot as well. And there are so many more matters to take care of. Honour, dignity, tradition. It's tough, but what it takes to be a nobleman. Do you understand what I'm talking about? There is approval in your brother's eyes for the first time in a long while. It's a pleasure to fight side by side, brother. We're still one nobility short. Before long, the entire city hears how a gang of lowborn thugs assaulted Stefan Brante. The grandfather ensures that the brash young men are found. Some of them are taken into custody as soon as lesser death releases them. Grandfather seeks vengeance on those who hurt his favourite grandson. Prefect Elborn, a friend of your family, promises to personally oversee the trial and ensure that justice is served. Stefan and grandfather decide to stay in Anziot until the trial ends. Grandfather demands true death for every single assailant. You ask father to explain something. How can a legal court sentence criminals to true death? How can worldly judgment overrule the twins' law? Your words are true, my son. Their law is second to none. Yet the twins' gods also made the empire in all its ways. The court of law exists to execute the laws of heaven here in the world. Should the court of law sentence a person to death, the law high above will always enforce it, and so every execution brings true death. The commoners who assaulted Stefan, a born nobleman, have committed a grave offence. There is no doubt about that. And yet, according to the Emperor's decree, even commoners have the right to defend themselves when they are about to face true death. This means that all of us will have to appear at the trial and testify before the court. Evening comes, Gloria walks the room, she looks crestfallen, and her fingers keep reaching for her long hair. You put away your school books and ask what is bothering her. The trial is tomorrow. I thought I was going to appear there too, as an eyewitness. And after all, this whole mess started because of me. But Sir Robert isn't even going to mention that I was there. Can you imagine? He says it would ruin the case. What? Why am I always in the way? Nobody ever mentions me, nobody has to listen to me. It's like I don't even exist. And I thought Stefan standing up for me finally meant something. Maybe I will become part of the family. But no. Everything is back to usual now. Gloria tries her best to hold back tears. You do your best to comfort her. Father just needs to keep the family out of trouble. If Sir Robert believes that I only bring trouble, why did he take me into his house at all? Gloria runs away. You return to your books, but you can't help but get lost in thought. What if they told the court you weren't there either? How would you feel then? There was a knock at the door. His father. He closes the door behind him and sits next to you. There is an exhausted look about him. Son, you will be testifying before the court tomorrow. Please remember what I'm about to tell you. Gloria wasn't at the ruins at all. You went there with your brother to inspect this historic site. The low-born men insulted Stefan first and then attacked him. Stefan had managed to deal with the assailants on his own by the time the guards intervened. Gloria will cast suspicion on the case. If you mention her very existence to the court, the reputation of the family will suffer. Your grandfather will never forgive me if that happens. Do not let me down. We are all counting on you. You've called the night of the fight like it was a moment ago. Gloria sprawled under the feet of those cackling thugs. Poetry, her greatest treasure, scattered on the ground. She thinks she's all noble. Those were the words they spat down at her. But doesn't grandfather mean the same thing when she denies that he is part of the family? But if you do what Father tells you, the trial will end quickly. The commoners will face... Darn. Don't have the willpower for this. I would do it if I could. The commoners will face true death for assaulting a noble. You mentioned Gloria, things will get complicated and you cannot predict how the trial will end. What is right or what is just? Sorry, Gloria. I still don't get why, but I guess because even if she was a raped child bastard, I mean, she was still being assaulted. Trial takes place in the Lesser Hall of the City Prefecture. Sir Elborn presides as a judge. You are seated next to Father and Stefan. You testify to the court one after another. You echo your brother's testimony to the letter. Your own commoners insulted you as you were both walking by the ruins. Then they assaulted you. Stefan defended you. The lives of the 4 thugs are forfeit. Selborn rises to deliver the sentence. The court of Anziot judges you guilty of assaulting Stefan Brante, a nobleman. All 4 defendants are sentenced to true death by hanging. There is no wind, but you feel a gust sweep through the hall. The defendants turn pale, their mothers are bawling and crying. Everyone in the court feels the dreadful power of the law, and it is stern and just. That very power has been invoked by this sentence, and by that very sentence the lives of the 4 young men are literally forfeit for all eternity. Gallows away. Stefan and Grandfather stand in the front row. The wood creaks, the trapdoors open under the young men's feet. They dangle in the air, wheezing and reaching out for support with their feet in their final moments. Father lets out an inaudible sigh of relief. It is all over now. When Gloria comes back home the day after, she refuses to eat dinner and locks herself in her room. Before she leaves, however, you notice a scratch on her face and her hair is dishevelled. You go to her room and knock at the door, but she will not open. Then she finally replies, "She has already gone to bed, and you should leave." Ah. Stefan leaves soon after the trial, alone. Grandfather does not go with him. For the first time in a long while, he lingers in the house for more than a fortnight. Father says Sir Gregor is ill and needs rest. Several months go by and it becomes clear that Grandfather will not recover. The eldest Brante is mostly bedridden now, and some days he has trouble recognising people. When he means to address you or Nathan, he calls you Robert, your father's name. When he does get out of bed, the house grows empty, the servants hide. Mother locks herself in her chambers. You and Nathan run outside or hide quietly in your rooms. If Grandfather sees anyone in the hallway, he begins lamenting. Oh, nobody heeds the lot anymore. Any harlot with a child can marry a nobleman these days. Children have no respect. His son betrayed him and let him down. And oh, how the Brante family has lost its honour. Again and again you hear Grandfather knocking at Mother's door, screaming that it is all her fault. He blames her for ruining his chances to find bliss in the hereafter. He blames her for dooming him to suffer at the foot of the pillar. You overhear your parents talking one night. Mother begs Father to move Sir Gregor to his old home and spare the children his decline. Father refuses her outright. In the later night, the hot dry winds are coming. The house is empty save for you, Nathan, Gloria, Mother and Grandfather are in his bed. Father has left for the capital on business. You are engrossed in the history of the Empire, snapping out of your reverie only when the clock strikes midnight. You blow out the candle and get ready for bed. You hear the shuffling of heavy feet outside your door. You see light in the hallway. Grandfather. What could he want in the middle of the night? You peek into the hallway once he has passed. Grandfather's figure sways as he heads to the door for the mother's chambers. He opens the door and walks in. You hear him saying something quietly. Your unease is stronger than your fear now. You sneak closer to hear his words. You foul commoner! I have to cleanse my sins. I have to save my soul. You are my greatest sin. You are what you have done to Robert and this family. I should have put a stop to this marriage. I should have stopped Robert from tainting this house by your presence. Why, oh why didn't I do it? Please, Sir Brante, I beg of you. Silence! You will do my bidding. Fire will cleanse all the oh dear. I need to eradicate this low-born filth. The twins, they are calling for me now. I can feel it. I can feel it. Mother begins to cry. I run into the room, unable to stay out of this any longer. Grandfather's gaunt figure looms over Mother's bed, a lit oil lamp in his hands. Please, just let me warn the children. I beg of you, Sir Brante. Your steps are loud enough to be heard. Grandfather turns to look at you. Stay out of this, Pimp. Be useful for once. Worldly matters concern me no longer. I see only my sins now, and a sinner I am. A sinner! The twins, they forgive no one. They will judge me by the pillar. I must do something. I don't want to suffer for all eternity. Go away! Mother is crying. Grandfather is still looming over the bed, driven to madness. Oh, we can't do that. We don't have enough fucking willpower! I mean, this gives us a lot of stuff. I think I'm gonna let him burn the house down. I'm gonna let him burn the house down because it gives me up to 4. Oh god, I really wish I had willpower. It's so hard to get willpower. Like, barely anything ever gives you willpower. Those who grow old do not return from the hereafter. What fate awaits him there? The nobleman's lot is the rule, but his helpless inability to fulfill his lot, with his own family no less, is causing him so much suffering. And look at grandfather's face, lit by the lamp, distorted by unyielding wrath. His force of will astounds you, even if he's using this will to choose his own demise. To submit to his will is your duty. It is the duty of every single person in this house. You cannot deny him. The lamp smashes against his wall. The darkness the curtains, the wall. It takes a moment for the flames to engulf the entire room. Grandfather's hands go up as he intones a loud prayer to the twins. You've known all these words all your life, but never have they sounded so solemn. His eyes look away, high above. His face is still masked, reflected in the flickering flames. He smiles. She will not run. She knows it too. It's her duty to stay here. There's only one thing you can do for her, and so you recite a prayer to her, as loud as you can, again and again and again, until the acrid smoke fills finally your lungs and takes your breath away. Gloria and Nathan are fast asleep, so they will perish before the fire seizes them. This is your final thought before lesser death claims you. You fall into a pain that embraces you like a soft feather bed. You feel light, free, there are no restraints, just a warm glow that envelops you in its secure embrace. Waves carry you. The touch is soft. They delicately enshroud what was once your body. It is a feeling unlike anything you have ever experienced before, something absolute and complete. You touch something greater, the reason behind everything, the reason for your very existence. The waves pause at the elder's feet. He leans over to you and plants a feather-like kiss on your forehead. The kiss spreads all over you. You are filled with unparalleled delight and bliss. You exist. You are unique. There is no one else like you. They know this, and they love you. You will never be alone. You are part of them. Part of your family, part of this universe. The twin gods will never leave you. They watch over you constantly. The elder softly touches you as your knife spread out amongst the waves, sending you further down the torrent of light. You float on to the top of the silver tree's spreading crown. The closer you get to the silver tree, the heavier you become. The waves draw you down along its trunk. You do not wish to part with the warmth and softness, with the love. You turn around, the elder is still watching you. He nods, all is as it should be. Go, your time has not yet come. You must return to the world now. As you tumble down towards your body, you comprehend the true meaning of your lesser death and the divine love that has been revealed to you. Love exists not only in the hereafter, it is present in the entire design of the twins that is the origin of all life in this world. What is the manifestation of this love in your mortal life? Myself? I don't know. I don't know what any of these do. I'm not going for these two. I might go for one of these four. And I'm leaning towards one of these two. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. You are back. The first thing you see is the gloom at the family's crypt, his mother's sorrowful eyes. This is your fault, but what could you have done? Without a sound, you mouthed to her the very words she taught you. You must accept all suffering. This is a commoner's lot. And even at these very moments you live by your lot, as you lie on the cold rock of the crypt, and do not turn away from mother's weary face. This is my last life. In the depths of the crypt you find Nathan and Gloria, reborn for the first time. They are shaking and crying silently. They have experienced their first death. Mother takes the children by the hand. You leave the crypt without a word and walk to what is left of the Brante estate. You belong to the common lot, and so you must endure the lash of fate that strikes again and again. Servants come in time to put out the fire, but the second floor has already been reduced to ash. It will be a while before the floor is restored. Thomas's family gives you refuge for the night. No matter what happened, life goes on. The family estate was damaged by fire, yet the family continues to live there. Grandfather's child body is taken to the family crypt. Gregor Brante has died his true death. You go there to look at him. His face is covered by a cloth, hiding its expression. The Gregor Brante finally finds solace at the pillar amongst the flames in his final living moments. Or did he die as he lived, an embittered soul driven mad because he could never truly live by his lot? Well, apparently he likes us more. Hooray. We're starting to lose some wealth. But we're noble, bright and searcher. We have some spirituality, some ingenuity and a decent amount of nobility. The night of grandfather's death shook your family to the core. Yet no matter how it happened, your grandfather, Gregor Brante, is dead and will never return. He is a fearful shadow looming over the rest of the family, the Brante patriarch exerting his influence on all the lives below him, and all of you will remember him forever. Father is the new patriarch of the family now, yet he still cannot bring himself to sit at the head of the table where Sir Gregor used to preside. Stefan locks himself away in grandfather's bedroom every day. He will not talk to anyone. Gloria and Nathan still jump at every sound that so much resembles the knocking of his walking stick. Mother spends all day in prayer at the temple. Yet the house has become calm and quiet with his passing. But there is one more thing that must be done, the final farewell. It weighs heavily upon your soul. The day comes to pay your final respects. Father goes to the tomb alone, save for Stefan, Nathan and you. Mother and Gloria stay at home. Only nobles, or those who may become nobles, may join this ritual. There is a solemn silence as you walk to the crypt. Father is the one who breaks the silence when you finally reach the door of the family crypt. Your grandfather built this crypt, and now he will be the first Brante to remain here in body forever, the first ever noble in our family. It is our duty now to hold to the sacrament of flowing blood for Sir Gregor. We will honour his legacy and join him as a founder of the noble Brante dynasty. Stefan perks at his father's words. His hands still clutch grandfather's sword. Tradition decrees that it must remain in the niche above the owner's sarcophagus. Nathan, on the other hand, looks even more frightened now. Stairs carved of white stone lead you downward. Deep in the gloom of the crypt, atop a pedestal, you see the sarcophagus that holds grandfather's body. Father takes a moment to compose himself before paying his final respects. Gregor Brante, my father, brought our family into nobility through his unshakable will. He was a judge and a loyal servant of the Empire. He lived his life as if he had been born a noble, and he never strayed from the path he had chosen. He sought to make the Brante family a noble by the sword, so that our children's children might be of noble birth. The twins know I abided by my father's words all my life, even if I could not obey him every time. Father lets out a bitter chuckle as he says this. Stefan glares at father, and turns to glare at Nathan and you. After all, the two of you were born of father's shameful decision to marry a commoner. All of you remember his disastrous passing. He did not die the true death he deserved, yet we all must know that he fought for the future he believed in, to the very end, and he would be proud to see his family bid him farewell with this sacrament of the nobility. Stefan still glares at father sullenly. His fingers remain clutched around grandfather's sword. Nathan barely pays attention to the words. He looks around with unease, his arms folded across his chest. Father reaches into his jacket and pulls out a slender dagger, thin and sharp. He takes off his glove. Why is this glowing? It's because there's new stuff here. That's it. Okay. That was bothering me. Watch me carefully, my sons. Make a small cut on the palm of your hand and let the blood flow into this duct on the wall of the crypt. It will join your grandfather's blood here and flow forever. Then ancestor and progeny will be as one. We shall enter our family's blood tide and receive grandfather's final blessing. For his blood flows first in our blood tide. He will respond to you. You are a part of him, and he is a part of you. With a quick motion, father slices his hand and holds the bleeding cut above a small opening in the wall. Then he hands the dagger to Stefan. Stefan cuts his hand without hesitation and does as father did. You receive the dagger next. Dagger's handle feels warm. You hesitate for a moment as you look at the palm of your hand. If you participate in this ritual, you will enter the Brant blood tide. You, a lowborn child, a child who is still a commoner. Are you ready to claim your legacy as descendant of the nobleman Gregor Brant? The eyes of your father and brothers are on you. Nathan, the youngest brother, will follow your example. You can be certain for this. Ask for the blessing, I think that's fair. We let him burn the house down just so he'd like us. We can, say yes. You quickly drag the blade across your palm, and the fresh wound burns on your hand. Yet before you allow your blood to join the blood of your father and elder brother, you ask your grandfather aloud. Will he give you his blessing to become a part of him? Will he allow you to join the Brant blood tide? You hear Stefan's indignant sigh. He does not say a word, however. Your words are a token of respect for grandfather and his will. Should you obtain his blessing, Stefan will not defy the late Brant patriarch. And suddenly you all freeze. Each of you hears your late grandfather speak to you. His voice is loud as it rings in the depths of the crypt, yet he speaks to each of you separately. You had the courage to ask me for a blessing. Well, so be it. You deserve an answer. To me, you are not incorrigible. You are half lowborn, but you may make a worthy nobleman one day. I shall allow you to join my blood tide. But know this, I will be watching you always, and my shadow will follow you forever. Do not let me down, boy. Grandfather's voice falls silent. You glance at your father and brothers, astonished. Stay for Stefan. Everyone else is dumbfounded as well. You have grandfather's blessing. You hold your hand above the opening in the wall. Your blood drips into the duct and flows further into the crypt as it combines with the blood of your father and brother. Nathan's turn comes. Your younger brother hesitates. Father offers him help, but Nathan shakes his head. Finally he makes a cut and Nathan's blood mixes with yours in the duct of the crypt. The ritual is complete. Stefan reverently kisses a grip of the grandfather's sword and places it in the alcove above the sarcophagus. Once all is done, you leave the crypt together. We're weirdly close with our older brother, considering how much of a dick he was. I don't know if this event is good, but I'm going to assume it will be. I also need to get a drink. I'm really thirsty. Oh, wait. Bottle's right here. past the splendid mansion of Count Velasco, one of Mantua's richest landlords. We hear a familiar voice from the other side of the iron fence. It's Stefan's voice. It's followed by the sound of a young lady laughing. You peek through the fence and into the mansion's garden, and indeed, there you see your elder brother, dressed like he is going to meet the Emperor himself. He is currently busy helping a pretty young lady out of the window. She locks him in an emotional embrace. You recognize her, Maria El Velasco, Count El Velasco's daughter. And as the whole city knows, she's already betrothed to another young nobleman from a far more illustrious family. Alright, he's marrying up. Oh Maria, I thought I could help you come down to earth from your heavenly abode, but your very touch brings me to the heavens. He picks the Count's daughter up and holds her in the air. She laughs, almost imperceptibly, and kisses him on the cheek. Then Stefan takes her by the chin and turns her to face him. Their lips join in a kiss. A flurry of emotion watches over you as you watch it happen. Stefan is putting the reputation of his entire family at risk. Acting so frivolously with the Count's daughter may turn the Count's influence against all the Brants. And yet, Stefan always speaks so highly of his noble bearing and composure and family honour. Stefan's face is glowing with joy. Your older brother, he is happy, truly happy. You've never seen Stefan like this, as his arms hold the Count's daughter in a tender embrace, so gently as though he fears to hurt her. And Maria reciprocates his feelings. Must you really rob them of their secret joy? If he ever speaks about this, no one else must hear it. You wait by the gates patiently, and still Stefan decides to return from his escapades. He is startled when he finally notices you standing by the gate. Well, you've already got an ability. So, let's go for the ingenuity and see if we can get that up to 4. See if we can get Gloria as well. You confess to Stefan that you saw him today in El Vasco garden with the Count's daughter. This affair puts both families' honour at risk, yet you say you are happy for him. You can see how much he cares for her. No matter what, it is worth the risk. Stefan can trust you with his secret, you assure him. The two of you will keep it together. Stefan reacts to you with anger at first, but your supportive words calm him down. You've got all the makings of a professional spy. But you're right, the risk is too great. Your aid will not go amiss. You are no nobleman yet, but I hope your word is worth my trust. From that day on, you help Stefan and Maria avoid the tension on many occasions. You even have to extract El Velasco's manservants and lead them away on a wild goose chase through the district. In the end, you are never caught, and you earn your brother yet another night with his beloved. They are both aware that the days of their hidden love are numbered. I'm surprised that doesn't buff our relationship with him any. But whatever, we're still decent. 3 out of 5 ain't bad. And actually, it's more like 8 out of 10. The road by the house reminds you of another clash with death. Sometimes as you walk along the road, you recall Sophia, a beautiful girl with the wonderful eyes and the terrifying thundering hooves. You've not seen Sophia since that fateful day. The children who lived nearby say her parents entered a rich Arcanian family, the Ottons, as a servant. The pillar shines palely in the dark sky. Thomas is ill, so you decide to visit him and tell him the latest news. The streets seem oddly agitated tonight, full of horses, cloaked men, strange faces and hushed voices. A young nobleman in a heavy embroidered cloak is walking back and forth, clutching at his sword nervously. There's a grimace of rage on his delicate blue face. He is an Arcanian. You overhear voices. Sir Otton, the girl's not at home. We searched the house. Her parents swear she ran away from home too. They claim they wanted to bring her back. Just do whatever it takes. Turn this loathsome district upside down if you must. Just bring my servant back to me. She's here. Okay, so we're going to have to choose whether or not to obey him or do what's right. Sophia ran away from the Arcanian. How can this be? There's only one place on the entire street where a person can hide. The abandoned Morel house, 4 houses away from you. You stand there, doing your best not to attract attention. The lopsided house called the Yellow Brick has been abandoned for 20 years or so. You remember playing there as a boy. You glimpse the figure inside even before you enter. A pair of eyes glimmer in the dark. You would recognise them even after another 4 years. Sophia has grown up. She is almost an adult now, and her face is full of fear. She is not the easygoing girl next door that you remember. She finally recognises you. Oh, it's you, Pimp. Be quiet. You're all looking for me. I ran away from the youngest Otten. I might be in for a lesser death here, but I'd rather die than spend another day in their slavery. I'm just a thing to him, just a toy to play with. Sophia winces and closes her mouth as she says this. There is a glint of bright yellow deep in her eyes. I ran to my parents. I told them all about the man that I had to serve, and they went and alerted the Ottens. They don't want to be the target of their ire, but you aren't going to tip them off, are you? The barking and shouting are getting closer. Sophia's voice goes quiet. She runs off to the darkest corner of the house before you can answer. One of Otten's servants is so close you can hear his cloak swishing against the ground. You notice something and calls to the others. There are more voices around you now. They approach the house from the yard and surround it. One of them seems particularly snappy, annoyed and impatient. You've already heard this voice today. If you're in there, girl, you'd be wise to come out and quit wasting my time. All will be forgiven, and you will go back to where you were. You know it, and if you don't, I'll drag you out by the hair. The hilt of the young Arcadian sword bashes at the door. He's about to lose patience, but good. Sophia hugs the wall in the dark, trying to stay still. She glances at you. What will you do? Your heart is racing. Can you act against the Arcadian's orders? Do you have the gall to defy the mighty nobleman? I don't have enough ingenuity or willpower. I'm just going to hide and get the willpower up. I'm not going to hurt, but I'm not going to help. I knew it. You what? I'm not throwing my entire family under the bus for some girl that I knew, like, what, 10 years ago? Not 10, like, more like 4 or 5. But still, it's quite a large ask. Darkness. As you blink stunned, Otten's tall figure freezes and suddenly collapses. Oh, she's magic! The golden sparks are still dancing before your eyes. A sudden pain seems to rupture your skull from the inside. Through the light and the pain, you barely catch a glimpse of Sophia. She dashes past the prone Arcadian and runs out the door. It takes Otten a few long moments to regain his senses. He gets up with a curse and runs after Sophia. So she's a witch too, eh? Get her, now! You hear men running, shouting and barking orders on the other side of the wall. You lie there on a pile of old bricks, rubbing your eyes. The danger is past. The runaway servant girl becomes talk of the district for an entire week. You know that Sophia has managed to flee the city. The Ottons are furious. Sophia vanished from your life just as easily as she came. You will not see her again for quite some time. We might have just been part of a super-villainous origin story. After what you did, Sophia realizes that the world is cruel and does not deserve to be spared. Given to the ex-slave girl with magical powers. Feels like that's a setup for a villain. But I really needed that willpower. I don't feel great about that, but I mean, it's a pretty big ask to throw myself under that bus. Also, I literally couldn't. I literally could not do anything else other than turn her in. You're about to turn 15, just one step away from adulthood. Mother is acting anxious at dinner today, barely touching her food. Exchange glances with Gloria. She carefully tells you that she wants to go to the tailor. Mother shudders and her hand clenches into fists. No, don't you dare leave home today. I forbid it. That dirty heretic Fortis is preaching his lies under the silver tree today. Twins willing, I don't want you to hear any of that. And Gloria glance at each other again. Fotis, he is a patriarch, the head of the clergy throughout the entire province. That's the first time you've heard your mother speak like this about the priest, especially such a high-ranking one. Here's a plan. The two of you should sneak out the house and go to the silver tree. I agree. Temple block is full of people from all ranks and estate. Barely enough room for you to squeeze through the crowd. Crowds gathered around the very roots of the tree. Gloria suggests you climb up to the roof of nearby buildings so you can hear and see everything better. And not a moment too soon. From the roof you see a tall, silver-haired priest step onto the platform. By the tree, dressed in the common black robe that looks far beneath the rank, he stands like a noble before the crowd. Behind his back is a banner flapping in the wind. The open book. This is a symbol of the new faith, the crowd whispers. The patriarch holds his hands up to the sky. The entire temple block grows quiet. Photis speaks of a great mistake. We entrusted ourselves to the lots as the only way to fulfill divine providence in this world. But for all these years, the will of the twins has been interpreted by us by a single man, Prophet Izatius. The twins are ever watching from atop the shining pillar. Of this we have no doubt. But how can we so blindly believe that we truly follow their will by following the lots? Have we not seen the 3 lots of Izatius fail again and again to answer the question of how we ought to live our lives? Have we not seen people change their lot in life again and again without being smitten by divine wrath? Every person born, whether human or Archean, low-born or noble, must find their lot and the way to their gods on their own. From now on we will seek the gods in the accounts of their own lives, in their own acts in this world, and in their own words as they echo within us. And as we heed the voice of the twins within, we will each find their path for us on our own. Crowd at Silver Tree listens in stunned silence. You glance at your sister. Her eyes glisten with tears as she hears Photis' words. If there are no lots, does that mean the nobles are going to till the fields and the commoners are going to bear arms? Patriarchs raise an arm and hails, ready to answer. An old figure leaps from the crowd onto a platform, a dirty beggar dressed in rags, a knife flashes in his hand. The blade slices. Blood starts spurting from Photis' throat. He slumps over and collapses. A dark brown puddle spreads across the platform where he had stood. Temple guards try to restore order in the crowd, but to no avail. An old woman dressed in an inquisitor's cassock tries in vain to apply pressure to the patriarch's wounds. The nobles draw their swords, dogs are barking, the crowd is pushing and shoving, children are crying, the entire square by the trees in chaos. This is unbelievable. The patriarch murdered in plain sight. The gendarmes and the Archduke's guards have searched every corner of the slums, and the murderous beggar has disappeared without a trace. I can't even imagine a more gruesome crime. Photis has died a true death, never to return from the hereafter. But how? Why can't the patriarch be reborn? He's so close to the twins. Such is the way of the world, my children. Once you are granted great power by the twins' will, there's no hope for you to come back, not even after the first of your deaths. Emperors, their powerful vassals, heads of the great Archean dynasties, patriarchs of the church, none of them are destined to be reborn. Photis is gone forever. I fear for his soul. It was lost in doubt. Will the twins accept him up upon the peak of the pillar? We must pray for the patriarch, children. Let us hope he managed to return to the true old faith before the moment of his passing. There is little hope for that. Oh, there's some discontent. And the old faith is not doing quite so hot. I was hoping I'd get the unity so I could help Gloria, but I'm still shy one. Remember, son, there's only one goal for you. You must become a student at the Imperial College. Your teachers dragged you through all those books for a reason. You have the knowledge and further to be a noble by the mantle as I was, and as my late father was before me. And who knows, maybe one day you will be the one to write the name Brante in the Blue Book, and ensure that your children's children will be noble by birth. Your mother speaks to you carefully, with worry in her eyes. But Robert, there may be another path for us, son. Stefan, your firstborn, was born a noble. He will surely earn the title for the entire Brante family. Your second son bears the favour of the twins. For him the path of the priest's a worthy calling. Fuck that. I'm not being a priest! Just don't become a sneak like Stefan and you'll do just fine. Please don't go, Pimp. Can't you stay? I don't know what I'm going to do without you. Try growing up. Such a wimp. I honestly don't like Nathan. Nathan is my least favourite of all my family. It will be a long time before you see them again. You spend your last hours with. I'm already maxed out with father, and I've got the nobility I need. Fuck Nathan. 10 willpower is a lot, but fuck Nathan. I'm going with Gloria, and I'm going to see if I can still get that last ingenuity effect. I'm so happy you're actually here, brother. You know, before you leave, I actually have something to tell you. Look, this is the history of the noble houses. It's got the story of how humans were first ennobled. I read all of it, and guess what? It didn't happen until after the expansion of the Empire. Apparently there weren't enough Arcanians for all the land. They just couldn't rule it all by themselves. Arcanians have always treated humans like cattle, but human nobles are even worse. They're like their paltry copies now, bearing noble titles, wearing gem-studded jackets, bossing others around and poisoning their lives. They make me sick. Everybody said nobles were born to rule, but if you ask me, I say they're nobodies. There's nothing noble about demeaning others and living off their hard work. I just wanted to tell you, brother, you don't actually have to become a noble. If you're a noble, you'll have to follow their rules, like Stefan does. You're not like him, I know it. Don't listen to Mother, and definitely don't listen to Father. They just want you to blindly follow them. It's true Sir Brent spent plenty of money and effort on your education, but a noble title and a judge's rank were his dream for you, not yours. It's time to think for yourself. Pimp, please promise me you'll find your own way out there. Might be too late for the... Yeah. But it doesn't matter at this point. So we're going away from Anziot. End of adolescence. Saw death. Lesser death followed by rebirth, and the true death that takes and never gives back. You saw death lying in wait to strike the unaware. You saw grandfather's angry grimace lit by the flickering fire of the lamp. The Archduke's cavalry trampling those who stood in their way, and your older brother's bloodied sword slicing through the air. Death has followed you from a very young age, and yet you live on. You're a friend who's been by your side all these years. Thomas taught you many things: how to take a hit, how to keep your word, and how to remain true to your own self. And now Thomas is walking to the same carriage as you are, with a heavy bag slung over his shoulder. Your friend will remain your companion for the time being. What awaits you in the future? All your qualities from childhood and adolescent will now convert into adult qualities. What does that mean? I think it just means that they're different stuff, but I don't think the number carries over. Determination and insight, or whatever it was, didn't.
Leaving my hometown behind, I set out for the capital of the Empire. There, I would discover my role in society.
Nathan is running after the carriage where Thomas's younger brother in tow, tears glistening in their eyes. It hurts to leave your home behind. Ahead lies Eterna, the imperial capital. We've often read about it and heard stories from Father and Stefan. It is a city that surpasses Anziot enormously in terms of size, age, wealth and beauty. But what is it really like? What kind of life awaits you there? What will you learn there, and where will your actions take you? You pass the old wards of Anziot. Somewhere within them is the old fortress you and Thomas built together out of old wooden planks, now left to the care of your younger brothers. You two are adults now. Perhaps your fortress will crumble, now abandoned, or perhaps your brothers will continue what you started. Who knows? You look down at your hands, knuckles covered in scars from street antics, fingers stained with ink. Mother gave you a cross to wear away from home, and now you can feel its warmth against your chest. Your family counts on you, even though they all wish a different future for you, but they are behind you now, in Anziot. From this point on, you will only you will decide which road you will take. Okay. need a value between 10 and 16. Values 17 to 19 are required for rare or difficult choices. The maximum value of 20 only gives you a chance for one extraordinary deed. Okay, so this one's really important to the judge. Most important to the conspirator. I mean, what have I got? I've got 4 diplomacy. I need between 10 and 16. I've got 5 manipulation. Three theology, which is fine, we're not going for that. 13 valor. Nearly. We can pass most already. Most important to the judge, so we're on our way for the judge. We're already a seasoned warrior. Just about. And we're a dangerous one. Okay, so we could be a judge or a criminal mastermind. And we have some decent eloquence as well. Letting grandfather burn the house down really helped. Okay. Remain a commoner. Path of the nobleman. Or we could die. We're not becoming a priest. Okay. Ah, that will be her secret society. That will be our sister. Let's try and not let that fall. We need over 13 manipulation to save that. We also need to be going down the path of the lotless, so we're probably not going to get a chance. We're definitely taking this one. Thomas is my absolute bro. And we're definitely going for this. So focus on valor. Swear an oath. And we'll save Alice if we can. They will be used for the rest of your life. Okay. I need this.
BRB.
Youth isn't very long. It takes a whole month to reach Turner. You and Thomas spend the days wagging your chins and staring at the scenery as your carriage makes its way along the road and towards the next province. Soon it crosses from the familiar barren, arid lands of Magra to the stately mountains of Illyria. During one of your many stays at a roadside inn, the two of you even manage to share a whole bottle of strong wine and keep it a secret from the servant who drives the carriage. Adult life feels positively intoxicating. Soon, I tell you, soon we'll be there, and I'll earn my sword as soon as I get accepted into the military academy, you'll see. And then nobody's going to walk all over me like I'm some commoner. You keep rehearsing everything they taught you in school. Soon you're almost at the end of your long journey. You've left behind the arid rocks of Magra, the mountains of Illyria, and the flooded meadows of Arknir. Eterna, the capital, is right ahead. Reglata and Talrina rivers, the city is vast. 3 majestic stone bridges keep its 3 shores interconnected. Smooth stone paves the main city streets. Gilded mouldings decorate the buildings. Towering pillars reach high into the sky. The carriage takes you past a spacious park with marble fountains, intricately trimmed bushes. On the streets you see ornately decorated carriages bearing Arknian coats of arms and abundant merchants' tents filling the streets with beckoning cries and unusual sights. The spires of ancient temples dot the city skyline. The carriage comes to a halt on a large city square with a towering marble fountain. The coachman says you have arrived. Thomas is to apply to the military academy. The academy barracks are 2 streets away. Your lodging house is in the alleyway nearby. A room has already been reserved for you. You get out onto the street and say brief goodbye to each other. You promise to meet again after the entrance exams. Then your friend disappears into the crowded streets of the capital. You are left to your own devices in this vast city. Nobles walk past. They are dressed in well-fitting clothing decorated with gems and golden thread. You are not even noticed. The street urchins chase a dog down the alleyway. Soldiers of the Imperial Legion are marching to fifes and drums towards the barracks. Humble pilgrims are gathering to the great temple of the twins. There are the sounds of music and fountains, and the smells of baked bread and garbage drains. You quickly check in at the lodging house and go back outside. The sun is setting. The streetlights come to life. Merry music fills the taverns. Couples of noble coaches with tinted windows fill the streets. Shadows and hushed voices and laughter fill the parks. You're all alone with this city, so vast and unfamiliar. You take a look around, determined to fill your first night in the capital with memories. You see young nobles gathered by the fountain, talking and making jokes excitedly. One of them keeps glancing at the clock tower. They are about your age, their clothes are hand-tailored, and 2 of them bear noble swords. They seem to be waiting for something. Might be a good idea to make their acquaintance. It would be most helpful to develop a familiarity with the influential nobles of the capital. A large establishment on the corner distracts you for a moment. The servants have just opened the shutters to air out the hall. Seems there will be gathering inside. People from various estates greet each other as they take their seats. A servant by the door of the establishment hails you. Sir Gert Arkwright will be making a speech about the rights of the common estate. If you wish to listen, you better get inside quick. Then you look at the great temple of the twins at the far end of the street, the pillar shrines. In the evening dusk above it, the temple gates are open and worshippers are flocking inside. There are too many people for an ordinary service. This must be something important. What do they preach here in the capital? What do they say of the new faith and the teaching of the patriarch Photis? A group of young men dressed in the colours of the Imperial College have made the acquaintance of several lovely girls. They are making their way down the road, united by merriment. One of the girls smiles at you. It is an invitation to join them. They turn the corner and walk away. But you can still hear their voices ringing and echoing through the street. A night of revelry and jolly loud fun doesn't sound half bad. Okay, so meet the noble youth. 1 diplomacy, 1 blah 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 blah. I'm probably not doing this. Does all of these cost willpower? No, this one doesn't. So that's probably what I'm going for. We'll need our willpower for something. You join their group. They're almost your age, maybe 1 or 2 years older. You see so many faces, and soon you're in a tavern somewhere in the city, getting to know so many people at a massive table. So many people, you do not even bother to remember their names now. And the wine, it flows like water. A lively tune is playing in the tavern. A girl just a little bit older than you pulls you off your seat to dance. Her dress is buttoned a bit more than it's supposed to be. She smells of wine and honey. You copy her motions in the dance as your hand clasps her waist. It slides lower on her own accord. She pulls away suddenly and stares into your eyes, and then kisses you on the lips. You're startled at first, but soon you respond to the kiss as you pull a soft, supple body even closer to you. Spend all night dancing, only returning to the table to catch your breath and quench your thirst. The girl keeps embracing you and laughing and pouring even more wine into your glasses. You feel at ease, you feel carefree, you feel happy. You do not remember returning to the lodging house. Your head and legs are aching in the morning. You can barely remember the names of last night's companions. After some consideration, you choose to remain in bed for the rest of the new day. But the last few days studying books, but today you decide to walk through the streets of Turner. They are full of life as usual. You proceed to the square next to the lodging house. A procession of priests walk through the square. You notice that one of them holds a banner with a new face, an open book. It is the same banner that was behind Patriarch Fotis on the day of his assassination. A crowd immediately gathers around them. Many people are looking at an icon painting on a small pedestal depicting a grey-haired man with glowing green eyes. You recognise that face, the face of the late Patriarch Fotis. A man with a thick beard appears by the icon painting. His broad shoulders bear a white and gold cloak with the coat of arms of the capital province embroidered on it. He is Luke, Patriarch of Archnia. He casts his stern gaze over the crowd. I shall speak to all who live within the sight of the shining pillar. Exactly 1 year ago, we lost Fotis, Patriarch of the Magra province, mentor of the new faith. Patriarch Fotis was the first to see the books of Isatis for nothing but the words of a man, not the words of the twins themselves. He was the first to tell people to seek the path to the gods in their own hearts, instead of blindly following the lots, to seek answer in the lives of the twins and their own hearts rather than the word of the priests. Through Patriarch Fotis, we were able to see the truth. Through his death, we saw that his words are not heresy. They are the truth that used to be obscured by Azatius' lies. And now I bring good news. Patriarch Junius Diamant has seen to it that our teacher will be canonized as a saint. Yes, Junius Diamant, an Archnian from a great dynasty and the Patriarch of Astinia, has joined the new faith himself. And through this we hope the entire empire will soon see that our doctrine is the truth. We are free from the shackles of the lots. We are equal before the twins. With each day, more and more people hearken to the truth, and one day the entire empire will hear our call. So let us pray, my brothers. The believers around you bow their heads in prayer and thank the twins, not for the lot they were given, but for the chance to choose their own path. The Patriarch's sermon is inspiring. It compels your hands to meet in a sign of the prayer, and compels your lips to repeat the words of the new faith. Patriarch Luke's sermon forms a cadence, and your heart beats in time with it now. You recall the murder of Patriarch Fotis a year ago. It seems more patriarchs share his doctrine now. The news of Junius Diamant joining the new faith is stunning. If an Archnian from a great dynasty has sided with Fotis' doctrine and agreed to see everyone as equals under the twins, the new faith must truly be putting down roots. But suddenly, several figures appear by the podium, figures clad in black, with glinting silver on their sides. The Inquisitors. They push through the crowd and form a circle around Patriarch Luke. One of these priests rises before the crowd. He's clean-shaven, tall, with chiseled features. Everyone falls silent at the sight of him. The Inquisitor speaks with a booming voice that can be heard by all. I am Father Ulrich. In the name of the twins and by my right as Inquisitor, I order you to turn around and leave. The words you're hearing are full of lies. Patriarch Luke has sent out to poison your hearts and minds, and the Inquisition will not allow this heresy to spread. The only true path in life is the will of the twins. Life offers us no other choice. You are hereby ordered to disperse at once. Some people shout angrily, we want to listen to Luke, he's a Patriarch of Archnia, and he has more to say. Get away from our sermon, old believers. We will not listen to you and your hoary old lies about the lots. Inquisitors, bring those who may yet listen back to their lots, and leave the others to the champions of their faith. The black-clad Inquisitors descend upon the podium and approach the people who chose to stay. With nothing but their words, they make people stop shouting and start listening. The uproar ceases quickly. They have dissected the crowd, split it into smaller groups, and surround each Inquisitor. One of these Inquisitors chooses to approach you. He's a humble-looking man of age, with a rough haircut. He looks you straight in the eyes, and a lively, soulful voice forces you to listen to his words despite yourself. My name is Father Jeremiah. I know your thoughts were stirred by the Patriarch's words. You are not sure whom to trust. But I teach at the seminary. I have been studying the teachings of the twins my entire life. You can trust me. I know you can hear what I have to say. I see their light in your eyes, the light of the true faith. Will you listen to my counsel, my son? Feel no malice in the words of Inquisitor Jeremiah, only hope is lost, blah 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 blah. Well, we need to get our diplomacy up, so I resist him. My son, your words do indeed contain a germ of truth. I am Inquisitor of the clergy, and by the will of the twins I cannot give you orders. But know this, the Inquisition does not imprison everyone suspected of heresy. We exist to protect souls, to guide and save them. We pursue dangerous doctrines and seek to rescue every soul we meet. Arrest or execution is our last resort, reserved only for sinners beyond redemption. You can see that I am merely speaking to you right now. I have not resorted to force, nor am I giving you any orders. But if the need arise, I will summon the champions of the faith, nobles who will be there to give orders and punish those who defy the church. But as long as you are not calling for the overthrow of faith, you are not safe from them there. You are... Just go. Many commoners and nobles of the mantle to the new faith. There are now several temples in Eterna that follow the new canons with Luke's blessing. This has led to no small amount of anger among the followers of the old faith. One of them is Luke, the patriarch of Arcania himself. He preaches all across Arcania, his every sermon adding to the new faith's flock. The other leader of the new faith is Patriarch Junius Diamant. He is the de facto ruler of Astinia province. Adored by his subjects, he has founded the Holy Order anew. Junius Diamant rarely preaches, but people believe the Astinian Patriarch attends to the needs of all who convert to the new faith. Schism within the church is growing. The split has furthered the divide between commoners and the noble, though thankfully there has been no direct conflict as of yet. But it has become clear that there is no way to stop the steady advance of the new faith. Born from the death of Patriarch Photis, it grows stronger by the day. So much that one night you fall asleep while studying another book. When you finally come to, you decide it is high time to get some recreation. The shining pillar is a slice of light against the dark night sky. The lamps on the facades of the buildings are lit. Night descends upon the capital. You don't feel like going back to your books tonight. Recently you made the acquaintance of several young men. They are children of the nobles of the mantle, just like you, sent to the capital to earn their noble titles at the college. You decide to seek them out. Your new friends are having a late dinner on the next street over, loudly discussing their plans for the night. Some speak eagerly of a dueling club where you can see some of the most skilled and ardent duellers of the Empire. You have never seen a professional duel before. It must be far more exciting than Father's fencing lesson, or their fight in the ruins of Anziot. And if luck favours you, perhaps you can even make useful contacts among the noble families. The others try to convince the rest to take a trip to a certain secret salon. The establishment is expecting a guest tonight, they say. A young lady who speaks about the true state of affairs in the Empire. It's going to be my sister. There are many questions about the nature of the place and identity of the mysterious speaker, but the young men have only one answer. They are forbidden to speak about this outside the club. That's going to be the Lotless way. The place you ought to go tonight, they claim, is a Markian society, a gathering for those of common estate but uncommon opinions that offers pleasures for everyone. Pleasures of the palate, pleasures of drink, pleasures of the flesh. It's not heresy and a crime, perhaps, and yet some of your newfound friends are eager to go there. I'm going to the fences. Theology? Really? Scheming. I need to get my Valor up. Valor's my primary stat. We march down the streets to a dueling club, which is located in a manor house decorated rather modestly on the outside, but lavishly on the inside. One of your newfound friends nods to the servants and they let you in. The rooms are stuffy, noisy and filled with tobacco and smoke. The sitting room is enormous. In the centre is an arena, a circle with wooden railings. Two young nobles are fighting there already. Take a glass of wine from a servant and watch the fight from one of the many soft chairs. You cannot bear a sword yet, but nobody says you cannot watch. As soon as the jeweller is wounded, the fight ends. But the way they fight still makes the audience gasp and scream in awe. When a jeweler is too slow to dodge, the duel ends with a bright red line cut through his sweat-soaked white shirt. The thin fencing swords cut through the air so quickly, you only see glints of flashing steel, like lightning in a storm. You do your best to remember all the feints and tricks you see tonight. They will come in handy when you earn your own sword. But then a tall young Archnean enters the room. He barges in from behind you and leaps into the arena between the two fences, thus ending the door. He bears a coat of arms with a griffin. This Archnean hails from the great dynasty of Orgriff. The Archnean's voice booms as he challenges everyone in the audience to a duel. If you consider yourself nobles, then how about you face an Archnean lord in honourable combat? A duel with an Archnean is suicide, especially if that Archnean hails from one of the great dynasties. Such a duel will end with a lesser death at best, or with a true death through trial and execution at worst. Everybody knows the punishment for spilling blue blood, and so everyone remains silent. So, humans are cowards, he says. You will never be true nobles if you are never ready to risk a lesser death. Then Archnean honour and tradition is not for you, and war is not your domain either. For human nobles are but a mockery, a gathering of animals dressed to resemble higher beings. A man leaps onto the arena. He is tall as a tree. His pockmarked face is white with rage and covered in scars. There's whispers of reverence in the audience. This is Marth Ferasti, the owner of the club. He is accepted the challenge for the honour of all human nobles. He has yearned to fight an Archnean all his life. Now is his chance. The duelers salute each other, and Ferasti begins the attack. A lunge, a jab, another, and then another. The young Archnean deflects each attack, like he knows his opponent's every move. Ferasti's eyes twitch with tension. The owner of the club lunges again, but the Archnean deflects his sword and rips the weapon out of the human's hands. Marth Ferasti looks at the Archnean in confusion, then bows his head in recognition of defeat. The Orgriff youth flashes a proud, superior grin. His fencing sword lifts the sleeve of his defeated opponent. It bears 3 black masks of lesser death. Now the young Archnean eyes Ferasti with a mockery of sadness and compassion. Why, it appears the poor, overeager ex-commoner is on his last life. Ferasti shudders. He asks the Orgriff youth to be so kind as to spare his life. Nobleman to nobleman. The Archnean's face goes dark and grim. His sword stabs deep into Ferasti's chest. Then the Orgriff youth speaks, loud enough for everyone to hear. He is the only noble in this hall, he says, and everyone who saw this must forget the dueling club ever existed and leave this place, never to return. The nobles scowl, dress reluctantly, and leave with quiet resentment. No one dares to defy the Archnean openly. The noble gathering disperses outside. You return to your lodging house, lost in thought. Archnean staff, far above humans. They do not care if you are commoner or a high-ranking noble. In their eyes, you are only a human. It seems there is nothing that can readily oppose Archnean power. They are the masters of this world, and humans are pale reflections of them at best. The trip to the dueling club ended on a grim note, but you learned a lot from watching the Turner's best duelers in action. You recall their lunges and blocks before you sleep, rather than the master of the dueling club being murdered in cold blood. We need to get 17 to 19 to do the hard ones. And we don't have a lot of time. You're on your way to the largest library in Eterna to study for your entry exams. It is right next to the college. The streets are full of people, everybody excited. You hesitate for a few seconds to let your curiosity get the better of you and head towards the place where you will soon study. Before long you hear the shouting. The great Chancellor is about to give a speech about the future of the Empire. You cannot possibly miss this. You mix with the crowd and soon find a convenient place to listen and watch what is about to unfold. On the steps of the college you see a small tribune guarded by 2 Archneans, armed with swords. This is the first time you've ever seen an Archnean standing guard, let alone 2 of them. The doors of the college open to reveal a stately Archnean surrounded by an honour guard. It is he, Cornelius Tempus, great Chancellor of the Empire, younger brother to the Emperor himself. He heads for the tribune and casts a look over the square. It is full of people in awe and utter silence. Long ago, humans witnessed the Archneans' arrival. The 2 nations built the Empire side by side. The provinces joined us one by one, and Magra was the final province to attain the absolute might and majesty of the blessed Archnean Empire. Yet there was another great event long before that. 1,000 years ago, the twins had graced us with their presence. With their arrival, the twins granted us their will. They showed us their love and their law, and they granted us knowledge of what awaits us in the hereafter. They chose the dynasty of Tempest to rule the Empire, and from that day forth our dynasty has ruled this land, ordained by the gods themselves. However, it is our duty to the twins not to seek power for power's sake, but rather to lead the Empire to further blah 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 blah. Fucking hell, go on. Single or blah blah blah. Commoners in power moves up. So wait, the Arcanians are trying to... In the early morning, you have been awake since sunrise studying. There was a knock at the door. Is it a letter from home or a hotel servant? You open the door and freeze, startled. Hello, Brante. Well, this ain't gonna be good. Before you stands Sophia, the girl who used to live next door. She's all grown up now. She looks so different, but you would always recognise those blue eyes, no matter what. A gesture for her to come in. Sophia enters the room, glances around, and sits in an armchair. You eye the girl you used to know as you sit across from her. But the young woman you see now has little in common with the girl you used to know. There is cold steel in the way she looks at things. Her hair is cut short. But what's she doing here? I can explain. I've been living in Eterna for a long time now. Ever since I ran from Anziot. I heard the other day that you'd left for the capital to get into the college. So I found you. Here I am. You asked how Sophia learned about your arrival and where you are staying. But she answered your question with an enigmatic smile. We'll get to that later. Right now I want to see how much you've changed since we last saw each other. As for me, I've changed a lot. I'm a whole different person now. You look away as you recall your previous encounter. Would you like to know what happened next? I travelled through the entire Empire all alone. I had nothing. My journey ended only when I reached this place, the capital, with all its important people and events. This is the heart of the Empire. It's a place where I can make a difference. I've made friends here, found people I can truly call my family. I've even gotten an education of sorts, and I have a purpose now. I fight against injustice. I fight against the lots. I fight those who treat our lives like mud on the pavement. And no, I'm not afraid to tell you that. I came to you for a good reason. I need help. I know you. I have faith in your good heart. And besides, this is also about the Imperial College you want to enroll in. There is a scholar there by the name of Bartholomew Dexter. He teaches natural sciences at the college. Dexter is an old man, but he's quite progressive. He'll stop at nothing to advance science and acquire new knowledge. As you know, only second-generation nobles or above are allowed to teach at the college. But Dexter, he's a common. He forged his patent of nobility to get a position at the college. But the secret chancellery recently learned of this. Dexter is about to face true death for this forgery. But how is that justice? A man wants to teach people, and for this they're going to punish him for the crime of being born in the wrong estate. It's evil and obscene, and I will not stand for it. Dexter deserves to be rescued. But I don't want to put anyone in danger, so I need your help. You're from a rich family. You're almost a noble. If you help me get Dexter out of the city, nobody will suspect anything. No one will know, and the scholar will live on to continue his research elsewhere, far away from the secret chancellery. Will you help me? It's dangerous, but I do kind of owe her. So yeah, I'll help. Besides, it gives me valor. I knew I could count on you. Then we must act at once. There's no time to waste. Dexter is to be arrested tomorrow. Here's his address. Go there as soon as the sun sets. No one will suspect you. Dexter often tutors young men for the college entrance exams. Tell him the owl sent you. Use the back door to get out. A carriage will drive up to the backyard. The driver will hoot like an owl. He'll take you to the south gate. If the guards stop the carriage, just talk your way out of it. Once you're outside the city, Dexter will ride away in a different carriage. You'll go back the way you came. I'll meet you in Majesty Square. You nod to a word and your hands start to shake. You're about to go against the secret chancellery. You're going to help someone escape punishment. To defy your own lot like this. It's unthinkable. When the sun sets, you leave the lodging house and walk quickly. Glancing over your shoulder repeatedly, Bartholomew Dexter's house must be somewhere around here. You find the place. The genteel old man opens the door. His face is covered in wrinkles, his shoulders are stooped, and yet his eyes are sharp and lively. Bartholomew Dexter looks at you for a moment, and asks why you have paid him a visit. You tell him you want to enroll in college and are looking for a tutor for a tutor, Dexter nods and invites you inside. Once you make sure nobody else can see or hear you, you whisper to the scholar about the real reason for your visit. The secret chancellery will be coming for him tomorrow, and he has to leave now to escape true death. Dexter freezes and turns to you. How do you know about him and the secret chancellery? You tell him that the owl sent you, and has provided for his escape. As for the secret chancellery, they want him for forging a patent of negation. The moment you utter Sophia's name, the lecturer calms down and starts packing for the journey. You watch him distractedly, and notice that he lives in a rather austere fashion. It does not take him long to pack. You hear the quiet clucking of hooves in the yard. Carefully, you and Dexter proceed to the backyard of the building. You see a carriage. The driver hoots. You get in. The carriage rolls down the road. There is a tense silence in the closed-off space inside the carriage. The scholar wrings his hands anxiously. Through the carriage windows, you see the massive city gate passing by. You are almost inside the city, but then a loud voice reaches you. Halt! The driver obediently halts the carriage. 2 city gendarmes approach you. That's 3, but whatever. Maybe the third one stays back. You leave the carriage to face the gendarmes before they can get a peek inside the carriage. They look you over and ask where you're going so late at night. You tell them you are a son of a judge in Magra, here to enroll in the college, and right now you wish to visit the estate of a newfound friend. To convince them further, you mention the name of a noble son you have become friendly with. The gendarmes release the carriage and wish you a pleasant trip. You drive along the high road until you encounter a peasant wagon. Dexter will take it to seek refuge far away from the capital. Before the two of you part ways, he pats you on the shoulder and tells you that you've done a truly brave deed. You find Sophia in Majesty Square, as agreed, sitting on a bench by a streetlight, reading a book of some sort. She closes the book when she sees you and offers you her hand. So did everything go according to plan? You nod. Then we've earned ourselves a bit of free time. Let's go. We set off on a walk through a maze of narrow back streets. Finally, you have some time for questions. What happened to Sophia over the last 2 years? She was just a girl before, a servant. How is she now a revolutionary? Sophia just smiles sadly. You've seen what I can do. I'm not just a girl. The Inquisition caught up with me when I ran away from Enziot. I ended up in the House of Humility, a dreadful place. I got collared. Do you know how it feels to lose your free will? Losing everything that makes you, you. She unclasped a tall shirt collar that had been hiding her neck all this time, and you see the round mark from the anti-magic collar. They say a scar like this will remain even after a lesser death, but I got lucky. Patriarch Junius Diamant saved me. Diamant took me and the other mages from the House of Humility and removed our colours. He made me one of his attendants. He taught me that there are no lots. He told me that I'm like this not because I'm a freak, but because it's my nature. He told me I can find a path to the twins like anyone else in the world. Hey Lucas, and then I was taken. I got out on my own. I found my own lot, to protect the common people from the noble yoke, to help others who are as unlucky as I am. I fight for a different world, a world where everybody has equal rights, a world where mages don't get robbed of their will just because of one aspect of their birth, a world where the nobles no longer tread upon the commoners. What age? I'm 17. Yes, this is our dream, but we are still so far away from it. But I will keep moving towards it, and I'll stop at nothing. We just we just helped someone escape, and you should join my cause. If we work together, one day we'll become a force to be reckoned with. I know you came here to find your way, but I'll never believe you really want to bind yourself to other people's laws and desires for the rest of your life. The path I walk is dangerous, it's almost hopeless, but it's worth living. Think about it. Goodbye. So we just helped her get a criminal out. We're in the capital now and about to enroll in the Imperial College. And there's about to be a civil war over some religious schisms. And we're quite good at valor and scheming, but pretty bad at everything else. We're decent at talking. Got some eloquence. Not really much diplomacy. And we died once when we let our grandfather set us on fire. Yeah, Granddad's dead.
I will never forget that day. For it was then that I chose the path I would walk for the rest of my life.
only a few days left until the Imperial College entrance exam. History, law, theology, you spent all day reading and rereading the books you brought with you, staying at the Library of Eterna for hours, sometimes until it closes. As the day of the exam approaches, your hands start shaking more and more, and finally the day comes. A clear sky hangs over Eterna today, the breeze is warm, you dress in your best outfit, a grey jacket and velvet culotte trousers. You comb your hair carefully and polish your boots until they shine. You leave the lodging house and head for the Imperial College. Your legs grow heavier with each step. The anxiety of the fact your fate will be decided today is virtually tearing you apart. Basically, we're just choosing the one that gets a sword. A squadron of warriors emerged near the college, led by Arclean officers. Their banners bear an image of golden grains. The noble militia of Monia province, what are they doing here? The nobles of Monia form a circle around the college, each warrior moving quietly and precisely until a chain is formed. One of the Arcleans is clad in an old-fashioned suit of armour. He is the leader of the militia. He locks a bar on the massive doors of the college into place and proceeds to the stairs to address the crowd loudly. Commoners, before you stands Egregious of the Monroe dynasty, Archduke of Monia. By my will, the college is hereby closed and today's entrance exam is cancelled. Your lowly origins make you unfit for the great honour of rendering service to the Empire, a right that ought to be available only to the hereditary nobles of the sword. The college's reputation has been tarnished. It breeds mock nobles who bear not a trace of noble blood. You belong in the lowly estate but have forgotten your place. Cornelius Tempest and other traitors to the Empire are indulging you in defacing the institution of the nobility for their lowly interests. A noble lot for those of lowly birth. How can this be? Right, so this is flat out a rebellion. I will not stand for this disintegration of the Imperial Order. Now turn away from the college this instant and return to the humble trades of your ancestors. Plough your fields, mend your boots, and work and suffer by your lot. If any of you dares to set foot upon these stairs, you will be killed at once. The students meet this speech with stunned silence. The crowd in the square is growing, however. The news of the Monian noble militia and their college's closing spread through the streets like wildfire. More humans join the crowd. College students, commoners, officials who worked hard to be ennobled. Unrest grows around you. You hear people calling to rush Archduke Monroe's forces to take control of the college and defend your right to become noble. The Emperor himself gave us this right. We have to fight for it. This is a decisive moment for all of you. The old gentry has challenged you. Will you accept this challenge? In the face of this shameful, illegal act by the Archduke's forces, you may prove that all of you deserve the noble lot. You need to break through the cordon, get inside the college, and take control of it. The nobles will never dare hurt you if your presence is strong enough. If you are ready to risk it all and fight for your right to the nobility, you will have to lead the charge. People keep coming to the square in the meantime, including students and teachers from the Divine Seminary. The lot of the clergy is to guide others to the right path. When the estates clash, the priests are bound to intervene. The seminary teachers instruct their students to form a line between the noble militia and the outraged crowd. The priests begin telling the warrior nobles and the riotous commoners to return to the preordained divine order, lest they provoke the wrath of the gods. The wrath of the gods, as the priests utter these words, the crowd around you disappears. The vision appears before your eyes. The empire is ablaze. You see burning lands steeped with pain and despair everywhere you look, rivers overflowing to extinguish the burning world. You can tell that the soil scorched by such fire will never bear fruit again. The God's given vision demands to be heard, demands to be prophesied to the world. But only a priest may speak to the twins and for the twins. Will you keep it inside, or will you step onto the path the twins have revealed to you? Somebody shoves you in the back and you snap out of the vision. You turn around to see a small but decisive troop of commoners moving quickly through the crowd. They are led by Sophia. As soon as she sees you, she signals them to stop. So you're here too? Going to rush to college, aren't you? Can't you see it already? The laws cannot be trusted. They gave you the right to study here just to throw you a bone. When the going gets tough, your masters will take it all away. It's time for you to decide. We are the lotless, and we are not putting up with this system any longer. We will fight for a new world. Are you coming with us, or are you going to submit to them? There are students and professors locked inside the college. Who knows how long Monroe will maintain the siege? And what if they start slaughtering people? Neither group of nobles will care what happens to them. We're going to go inside and pull them out. Come with us if you're ready to take control of your own destiny. Students, commoners, nobles, elemental, followers of the new faith, all of them are gathering their forces to move on the wall of soldiers. They expect the nobles to let them through en masse. Surely they won't start a massacre. The lotless, led by Sophia, prepare to break through the siege to rescue the people in the college. And all the while, the priests preach peace to both sides of the conflict. The college is your only way into the nobility. Only you can fight for your new lot and fulfill your duty to your family. You could organise an offensive strong enough to get into the college and thus seize your lawful right like a true nobleman. Yet the revelation about the wrath of God still pulses in your mind. Once revealed, this vision will take you on a different path, standing with the priest and preaching what you have just seen, warning all of the dire danger on the path of warring estates, bringing the twins' word to the people and guiding them to salvation. Could this be your new lot? Sophie and the Lotless, they expect you to join their struggle. They are waiting for you to cast off the old ways and the eternal yoke of subservience. If you choose this path, you will not continue your lot, and your suffering will continue. You will not change your lot, and your suffering will continue, but your suffering might just change this world. I'm going for the nobleman. I want a fucking sword, damn it! You get to work, recalling the books on military tactics you used to study as a boy. You call out to the students and children of nobles around you and assume command. They hear you and they listen. You stand together in close formation and march towards the weakest link in the line of nobles, more people joining you along the way. A veritable phalanx of young men, armed with nothing but determination against a nobleman's swords. The noble militia readies their steel. The Arcanian officer in command of this section halts you and orders you to turn back. You step forward and give him your reply. These people are here to study at the college as the Emperor himself has decreed. You have every right to fulfill the imperial law, and any nobles who dare to intervene will be defying Uther Tempest II himself. This is your chance. You command your forces to focus their advantage in numbers for a singular push, and the militia line breaks. You reach the college gates. More people start running for the breach. The nobles get there, bearing quickly, enough to restore the line, but your phalanx is already inside. Run towards you. You quickly tell them your plan, block all the doors and windows with whatever comes to hand before Monroe's forces can get in. If they do get in, only the twins know what they will do. One by one, all the entrances are swiftly barricaded. The riot outside the college is calm for a moment, it seems. Through an open window you hear Monroe giving orders to his militia. The Archduke is forming a strong perimeter outside the college, ready for a proper siege. Students and professors of the college go to the balcony to negotiate. You are amongst them. Surrender and leave this building. I am not here to kill or execute you. No loyal subjects will die by my hand. The humans all endure at the himself appears in the balcony. The imperial family established the college, he claims, and he cannot defy orders given by the great Arcanian Tempest dynasty. And so the college remains besieged. The noble militia stands in a circle around the building, but there are no preparations for an assault. The outrage in the square continues. You remain in control of the college for the entire night and the following night. But at sunrise, the Emperor's herald arrives in the square. He brings news. The Emperor is delighted to see Archduke Monroe in the capital. He demands that the noble militia of Monia vacate the square and allow classes to begin at the college. The besieged college celebrates the news. This is the work of Cornelius Tempest, great chancellor, the Emperor's brother. He managed to convince the Emperor to order Monroe to withdraw. Even the Archduke of Monia, the most powerful noble lord in all the Empire, cannot disobey a direct order from the Emperor. Still, the college would never have held out for an entire day without your phalanx's determination and your daring plan. My daring plan to just walk forwards. You, the people of the common estate, have secured your right to study and earn the noble lot. The college is open again, and the entrance exam will take place in a few days. You aren't nervous at all this time. All the lessons at home, the books of schooling, your own noble actions, all that work and effort has finally reached its culmination. The procedure for appointing a provincial overseer, the 5 great Arcanian dynasties, your property rights of the estates, you answer all these questions with ease. Hours pass and the Dean of College reads the name of the new students as the young men gathered at the college steps. Your name is among the first. He praises what you did in defense of the college. People like you are the Empire's future, said Brante. Sunlight fills the college square. It feels so soft and soothing here in Eterna, not as harsh as it gets in Anziot. You watch the pillars shine in the sky as you walk down the steps of the college. You are Brante, the 3rd judge in the family. A man who will soon join the family's noble blood tide. You have seized your right to achieve the nobleman's lot. You should write to your father now. He will be so proud of you. Dad was doing alright last I saw him, and our brother had chilled out a lot. Sister was not doing great, and Nathan can go fuck himself. You return to the lodging house one last time to gather your belongings for the move to your new home. A young man dressed in the uniform of the military academy greets you by the door. It takes you a moment to recognise Thomas. Your friend locks you in an embrace. Brante! Hey, how are ya? I heard about the nasty stuff that went down in the college square. Those damn gentry would do anything to keep the lowborn folks on their thumb. Glad the situation resolved itself. As for me, I'm an academy cadet now. He's been with pride. You invite him in and chat while you pack. Thomas continues to relay the news as you walk up the stairs. I made it into the top 10. Can you imagine? Did pretty well in sparring and the sciences. It's all thanks to the help you gave me back in school in Anzio. I'll be studying the art of war now, and it's a quick march to a noble title. How about you? You tell Thomas about what happened over the past few days and of the path you have chosen. He remains quiet as you speak. Both of you realise that you may never see each other again. You know, Brant, here's what I think. You may have your own path in life, but you're my friend. We gotta make sure our friendship lasts forever, no matter what happens to us. Here, I brought 2 brass rings. If the old tradition is to be believed, both the rings and their wearers will always remain close to each other, no matter where fate takes them. What do you say? The 2 of you grew up side by side. Thomas, the audacious, hot-blooded, sharp-tongued boy who used to live next door. You can't imagine your childhood without him. But would it be right to promise him that your friendship will last forever, no matter what happens? He's gonna rebel, but I can't ditch him. He's my bro. Jesus Christ, can you imagine doing that? He's the homiest of homies. We grew up on the streets together. You take one of the rings from the outstretched palm. 2 of you have walked side by side ever since you were children. Even now you're walking in the same direction, towards a noble title. You as a judge and Thomas as a warrior. Nothing will ever tarnish your bond. You swear an oath of eternal friendship. It's Thomas. Thomas solemnly swears the same. Put the brass ring on your pinky. Perfect fit. Thomas follows suit. He starts beaming again. Now we're friends forever, for all eternity. We gotta celebrate this. Come, I know a place. I gotta show you. Tastiest meat I ever tried, Brant. My treat. The 2 of you go to a noble salon by the square of Empress Severin. Salon. Surrounded by tobacco smoke and mead bottles, you wag your tongues, record the days of your adolescence, and makes plans for the future. Nobody knows what could be waiting for you, but we promise you will never lose sight of each other. We're definitely going to have to at some point choose whether or not to execute him or imprison him or let him go or something like that. It's going to happen. They wouldn't set this up. They wouldn't make us promise this unless we were going to have the option to break it at some point. And I know it's going to fucking happen, but can't ditch him. We've been through too much. As soon as you're accepted into Imperial College, you send a letter back home. Your family replies quickly. The letter arrives in under a week. Most of it is covered with your father's handwriting. I am proud of you, my son, and I believe your grandfather takes pride in you too. You have brought our family one step closer to being ennobled by the sword. You will make an excellent judge. I have complete faith in your intellect and your will. You shall bring glory to our family. Stefan's congratulations follow your father's. Congratulations, brother. The simple folk could only dream of what you have already achieved. You can thank father and grandfather for this opportunity, but it was you who proved yourself worthy. Once you received your new lot, you and I will be equals at last. Then some words of praise from Mother and Nathan. You've brought your father much joy and made him proud, and I am witness to this. You now walk this path, all thanks to him. But it saddens me that you did not consider the Divine Seminary, where you could have dedicated your life to our gods as well as the Empire itself. You worked so hard for this. You held a big feast in your honour back home. I hope you achieved all you've ever wanted. At the very end, there was a small note from your sister. Congratulations. Good luck. She wanted us to go lotless. But, I mean, that just seemed like Okay. Masquerade at the Summer Palace. Oh dear. At the Emperor's Brother's Summer Palace. That's quite a big deal. They tell you more about the ball too. All who attend it from college must prove themselves with words or deeds to the members of the great Archean dynasties that will be present there. This means the reputation of your home province will be at stake too. It's time to get ready. You order a proper suit for the occasion and a mask to go with it. It looks simple, but by no means plain, and only hides your eyes. The day comes, you spend an entire morning preparing for the ball. Your fellow students give you hints about how to attach the cuffs, keep the collar straight, and make sure your hair remains coiffed for the entire night. Soon the carriages start flocking to Camille's Tempest Summer Palace. The tall, ornate outer fence surrounds a sprawling garden in full bloom. The marble-paved driveway is so wide it can accommodate 2 carriages. You and your fellow students walk up the massive stairs to the front door of the palace. You seem tiny and incongruous against the background of the scenic grandeur. The Master of Ceremonies instructs all newcomers to seek their province's coats of arms. You see a banner of Magra from far away, depicting the silver tree digging its root into the murky grey soil. Below it is a banner bearing the coat of arms of the Milandias dynasty. Turns out students from the college were not the only ones invited to this party. You see academy cadets lined up beneath the banners too, and Thomas is among them. A wide grin appears on his face when he sees you go under the banner of Magra. I just knew you'd be here today, pal. What can I say? Congratulations, student. As for me, I'm not so bad off myself, see? The military academy is father and mother to me now. His merry speech is interrupted by a tall, proud Archean in a heavy cloak. You recognise him. He is Dorius Otton, Sluthia's former master. Make way for your commander, soldiery. The last time you saw Otton, he was searching the back streets of Antioch by your house for a girl servant. That was Sophia, by the way, the revolutionary that we helped out. But now the young Archean's uniform betrays his high standing. He is young, yet he's already a province's commander. We put him in charge of all the military forces of Magra at such a young age. What's wrong? You know him or something? A brief description of Otton is enough to wipe the smile off his face. You see no other high-ranking officials bearing the colours of Magra at this party. It seems Dorius Otton will be the main representative of your province tonight. You watch the other college students and academy cadets line up on the provincial banners. The blue and silver banner of Archnia, the Emperor's own province, is in the very centre of the hall. Judging by the hilts jutting out from beneath their belts, many of those who surround that banner are nobles of the sword. Thomas is clearly jealous. The group from Archnia stands proudly, ennobled by its iconic and dignified history. The Archnian race and the Empire originated in their very lands. A sizable group of students stand under the banner of Monia, a wealthy agricultural province signified by yellow grains on a field of ore. I don't know what that means. The wealth of the young men beneath this banner is plain to see. Their attire is on par with the Archnians in terms of luxury, perhaps even more vibrant in terms of colour. Can I lower the game audio just a bit? The most numerous group at the party stands under the banner of Illyria, a yellow griffin against the field of azure. All the Illyrians are clothed in well-tailored suits with minimum of decoration. Some of them wear gloves. Most of them come from wealthy industrial families, and it seems many of them would feel more ease in their family's factory than at a noble party like this one. 3 banners represent the northern provinces of Fiona, Hermia and Constanta. These banners, like the groups associated with them, stand together. The Royal Tempest dynasty oversees all 3 of them. The students and cadets are clearly well off, yet they are dressed in modest, functional garments to honour the austere traditions of the north. Finally, the smallest of the groups is represented by an open book against Field of Argent, Astinia, homeland of the Diamant dynasty. By order of Patriarch Junius Diamant, the open book of the new faith has been added to the banner only recently. Nearly all the young men beneath this banner are clothed in academy uniforms. They wear no adornments, but are clad impeccably, with nary a button undone, the embodiment of rigour and restraint. The Master of Ceremonies signals the beginning of the party. It's time for dancing. The first dance is the minuet. Tradition calls for everyone to dance. Harpsichord music fills the hall. The academy cadets waste no time finding dance partners, and soon already making the fluid first steps of the minuet. You take a look around. One of the young ladies representing Magra catches your eye. She is slender, like all Archnians, and clothed in a yellow dress embroidered with emerald green, her face hidden behind a full mask decorated with bright green feathers. What happens next seems unbelievable. The enigmatic lady walks towards you. The way she looks at you, the way she walks. The black eyes from behind the mask watch you closely. She tilts her head. There are no words, but you feel there is a question. Everyone in the hall is startled by a sudden noise. You look behind you and see Thomas getting up off the floor, his face a grimace of rage. Thomas Otten stands before him, eyeing him with disgust. His arm rests on the hilt of his sword. Who allowed this clumsy commoner inside the great Chancellor's palace? Its noble masters are trying to dance and it's getting underfoot. Thomas looks like he's about to explode in Otten's face, but the smug Arcanian's sword is a clear threat. If your friend's rage gets the better of him, he will end up in trouble. The enigmatic Arcanian beauty, however, quickly loses all interest in her quarrel. She comes even closer to you, expecting you to invite her to dance. Yeah. We don't have enough diplomacy to do this. I'm leaning towards this one, I'll be honest. Willpower is pretty hard to come by. We don't really care about eloquence, and we can afford to lose 1 point with Thomas. And I prefer not to piss off Dorius. Especially since, you know, this is literally just Thomas's fault. I know I made a big deal about how much he's my bro and all that, but like, I'm not doing it. He's not in. Like, he's just being insulted. Like, if he punches a nobleman who's armed in the middle of a party, then that's kind of his own fault. I don't think. I'm pretty sure Thomas will be fine. And you get to die like 4 times anyway, so I'm pretty sure he'll be fine. I'm pretty sure he'll be fine. All are cats. I don't know what that means. Turn your head towards the Arcanian beauty and offer your hand, taking care not to rush your movements. A moment later, her fingers gracefully come to rest in yours. The masked lady's touch feels electric against your skin. You walk together to the centre of the hall, where the other couples are already dancing. You bow, and she makes a curtsy. Her hands are incredibly thin. They seem so delicate, you feel you might snap them if you squeeze too hard. You adjust to her steps, counting the rhythm of the music. Your lady for the dance is an Arcanian, a noble born to rule, yet this is a dance where you must take the lead. As you walk around her, your eyes catch an embroidered ornament on the arm of her dress. You spy many thin emerald threads, all interwoven in a pattern of interlocking snakes. This young woman is Octavia Melandius, daughter to the Archduke of your home province. I thought we already knew that. I'm in your end. You bow to the lady and offer to accompany her wherever she chooses before the next dance. Why, then be so kind as to accompany me for another dance. Before you know it, the night is almost over. Octavia will not let you go. He does not accept another invitation until she has danced with you 3 times. That's a pretty good sign. You spot Thomas in the crowd during the break. He catches your eye and salutes you with his wine glass. Judging from his lopsided grin, Otten must have had him removed from the dance floor, but any concern for your friend is forgotten when you see the beautiful Octavia approaching you again. See, he's fine. $18. I need to get water. Youth is peacetime. Well, after youth is peacetime. You've lived another year in the capital. The turnout has been shaken by what is now known as a trial of the 50. 50 people stand trial at once, all prominent members of several political circles. They are accused of treason and conspiracy against the crown. The accused spoke in favour of reducing the power of the nobles and granting more rights to the common estate. There was no mention of rebellion, yet those words alone were enough to indict them. Every session of the trial is open to the public. It's a show of power made to discourage people from forming such circles ever again. You attend one of these sessions. The 50 face their verdict. Forced labour in the mines of Magra and Illyria for regular members, and true death for their leaders. 6 men and 1 woman. Public execution takes place in the central square of Eterna. You remember the woman. Her name was Annie Sirin. She made a speech before her execution. A young woman, not too tall, her face almost plain, with long bangs over her eyes. She looks calm, even at this moment. You cannot believe she is about to leave this world forever. Annie Sirin takes a look around her before she speaks. Her voice is quiet, but you're close enough to hear every single word. She says she is happy to give her lives fighting for the rights of the people. Her cause will never die, Annie claims. Others like her will continue their work in hiding, for their cause is right and just. She is dragged away to the others. They put a sack over her head and tighten the noose around her neck. A hand yanks on the lever, and the 7 dangle in the air. Their feet tremble at first, then grow still. There are gasps and cries of discontent in the crowd. Yeah. So that's moved it slightly towards the old hours. I think I was supposed to be able to help her. Hang on. Let me... No, Alice. I don't know who Alice is yet, but that's not Annie. Your studies at the Imperial College may have begun with a luxurious party, but soon you settle in a routine of lessons after lesson. Along with dozens of other future judges, you spend hours listening to lectures in spacious college halls with high ceilings. You study imperial law and legislation, analysing every technicality and interpretation. The subjects only get tougher, and the instructors grow ever more demanding as your studies continue. Yet law is not the only thing you study. There are other disciplines as well, such as rhetoric and orthography. A true judge must have a perfect command of both the spoken and written word. Watching dark blue ink off your fingers become an indelible part of your daily routine. With all your classes, you find the fencing lessons particularly exciting. Every lesson covers your body with ball cuts and bruises and makes your muscles ache from exertion, but your childhood dream is worth it. Finally, a short break in your studies, and on days for rest and recreation. You meet Thomas to discuss how you are going to spend this time. You're coming with me tonight, no excuses, Brant. We're playing a visit to our mentor, Baron L. Croy. It's time you learn a thing or two about how we do things in the military. Your friend looks very cunning and pleased with himself when he says this. With sighs, you change out of your college uniform, into your best clothes, and follow him. Thomas rushes you to a 2-story house somewhere in a noble neighbourhood in the capital. Its windows are open and you can hear people talking over each other. The house's sitting room is filled with young people, at least 2 dozen men, almost all of them academy cadets. In the middle of the sitting room is an armchair, and in this armchair is a gentleman wearing the uniform of an Imperial Legion officer and smoking a pipe. His thick hair falls over his large, observant eyes. Baron L. Croy welcomes the 2 of you with a slight nod and continues his speech while everyone listens respectfully. As I was saying, his name is Gunter. As I was saying, young men, I firmly believe that the days when all the military glory of the Empire belonged to the Archaean dynasties are long gone. Human nobles have been serving the Emperor at least as well as the Archaean nobles for some time now. Still, the Archaeans keep acting like their origins are more important than honour and service to the crown. Take the Milandius dynasty, for example. The Archdukes of Magra, long ago, their leader Shah Milanidas fomented a rebellion against the rule of the Tempests and the Twins' faith. He sucked all the life from his own land, and yet the Milandis dynasty still rules over Magra like nothing ever happened. And suddenly Sir Ilcroy flashes a cunning grin. I think this calls for a test of your strategic thinking, young man. Men, but first let me refresh your memory on the rebellion of Charmlandis. It may seem surprising, but we have him to thank for our current status. He was the first to ennoble humans, an act of unprecedented insolence, but it gave the rebellious Duke immense support in his province. He risked his own reputation and title to make himself stronger thanks to humans, and in that he succeeded. No one had ever dared challenge the rule of the Archaeans and Tempests before, but the rebellion of Magra changed everything. Humans became a part of the nobility. They got a taste of the power only the Archnians could wield before, and unless I'm mistaken, most nobles in the empires these days are human. Why, we outnumber the members of the Archnian dynasties dozens of times over. So, Shah Melanidas had a complete rule and control over the lands of Magra. He had the loyalty of his ennobled human subjects, and he had the loyalty of the mages and witches who fled to Anziot, the only place in the empire where they could hide from the church. The Archduke of Magra had everything he needed to win, yet two pivotal changes brought him down. First of all, he cast a magic spell that incinerated the entire province. It certainly stopped the Imperial legions in their tracks, but the population of Magra would no longer side with Shah Melanidas after that. Second, the clergy stuck at the rebellious duke with the power of the twins. His magic was gone and his main advantage was no more. Many fled, but as you know, it still took the Empire an entire month of siege before the palace in Anziot was taken. After the rebellion in Magra, the Empire changed drastically, and most importantly, humans finally received their lawful right to be ennobled. And I'd like to stress that in particular, ennobled not by birth, but by virtue of their own knowledge and talent. History, young men, is more than just a memory of the past, it's also a lesson for our future. I believe that part of our history proves my point. And now, a test. Tell me, if you were among the Imperial strategists during the rebellion, what would you have done? How could you have fought an enemy as powerful as Shah Melanidas? This Sir Elcroy leans back in his armchair and takes a pull from his pipe while the cadets start discussing. Some take no time to say they cannot believe Sir Elcroy thinks humans were first ennobled by serving the rebellious duke. Others say the prolonged palace siege might have been a mistake and storming the palace would have been a better choice. Soon ideas, some flying, some cause only laughter while others lead to debate. They're discussing the past of Anziot, the past of your hometown. You cannot possibly stay silent right now. If you were in command of the Imperial Legion back then, what would you have done? Based on what you know about the rebellion of Magra, you see three potential strategies. The first involves calling upon the twins' miracles to rob Melanidas of magic and render him powerless. The second entails putting your faith in the discipline and valour of the army for a frontal assault. The third means drawing out a siege while making the enemy's life as hard as possible through cunning. Which of these three strategies would you have chosen? That gets me valour and scheming, that gets me valour and eloquence, and that gets me valour and theology. So I guess we're saying lay siege. Yeah, they're basically, the Archnians are basically like elves. They're blue and they're better than humans at basically everything, but they're also complete arseholes about it. So fuck them. I agree with what you're saying, Brante. In a sense, had the Imperial forces done that, they would have lost fewer men and kept the palace of Anziot intact. Yet you are missing my other point here. Melanidas' army would have continued fighting, even emancipated by a siege, even with their numbers dwindling. True, some did flee, but those who stayed to defend the city and the castle, even after the Imperial forces broke in, remained loyal to their lord until the very end. Long ago, only Archnians had the right to wield weapons and wage war, but now humans can prove their merit and earn the same right. Humans like ourselves. And the present empire has grown even stronger thanks to its new warriors and functionaries. These days humans can judge and rule and create. The terrors wrought by the rebellious duke are undeniable, yet his rebellion created new possibilities for all of us. And this, young man, is the moral of the story. Shah Melanidas was defeated, but not by the clergy and their prayers, and not even by the noble militias assembled by other archdukes. He was vanquished by the Imperial legions, a unified army with clear regulations and ranks and a clear chain of command. An army that is stronger in discipline and loyalty to the Emperor. So eyes finally move away from you and back to the rest of the young men in the hall. But nobody else dares to argue with the battle-hardened officer. This evening continues. Sir Elcroy shares some of his war stories, each more astounding than the last. For the rest of the night you are out of the Baron's centre of attention, and so you join Thomas and the other cadets in sipping wine and enjoying his tales. Return to the college after a long midnight. You recall Baron Elcroy's story about the rebellion of Shah Melanidas after that. The rebellious duke lost the war, and yet he brought about drastic changes for the humans and the entire empire. We want to get one more in valour we want valour to be as important, as high as we can. It's good for judges, and we are, we like fighting. This, I mean, we're kind of just getting it up because it's there. I don't know if I'm going to need it or use it, but it's so high I might as well keep going with it. Some of the nobles. Humans can become nobles, but there's, like, people who are born nobles. And all of the elves are guaranteed to be born noble, no matter what. and if they've got the same job as another noble, then they're automatically a higher noble. It makes me proud that I have managed to teach Stefan how to handle our affairs at home. Your older brother behaves impeccably at the society balls and receptions that we host. He's already made several crucial acquaintances. Oh dear. Stefan is a lot like grandfather. It's in his manners, his posture, his voice. He even dresses just like him. He used to be aloof around me and we barely talked in the past, but now he always blames me and tears me apart. I can't take it all the time anymore. He walks over me all the time and treats me like a housemaid. Barely manage. It makes me sad to admit that Nathan has none of the talents you have. The other day he told me he won't even try to study in the capital. He says he won't be able to pass the exams. I find solace only in the nights Nathan and I spend together reading the scriptures and a walk to the church by the silver tree. He accompanies me every time. So, mother's kind of ill. Brooding. Stefan always tries to get under Gloria's skin, and she answers him in kind, and Stefan calls her a lonely commoner to make her shut up. I'm not sure how, exactly. Whatever. Who's Nathan? It's my younger brother. You'll become judge one day, so you're sent to the prefecture of Eterna to be mentored by a more experienced colleague. Your mentor is a judge of considerable age, a noble of the mantle who have a proud bearing about him. He never misses a chance to remind you that being mentored by such an experienced man of office is a great honour. Your mentor entrusts you with his minor cases, and to his great joy, his night shift. A petty theft, a verbal assault against a noble of the sword, a fine for the parents of children who covered an imperial institution with obscene drawings. Petty cases, all of them. But they are real cases a judge has to face. So you sit there, carefully comparing complaints, statements, and witness testimony. Then the door of your office swings open. A gendarme drags in a provocatively dressed girl. Her golden hair is undone and her makeup is fiery red. Girls like her sell their bodies in houses of ill repute. The next to enter the office is a stout priest, his face adorned by a nose of a remarkable shape and a huge wart on his cheek. You do your best to avoid staring at it. The gendarme gives his report. The girl was arrested with a certain gentleman in the park by the Temple of the Twins. They were commuting acts of carnality, an affront to the faith. The huffing and puffing priest interrupts it and starts yelling. He saw her doing magic, he did. The gentleman was enthralled by the girl and he was glowing like a lamppost. He gestured for the priest to stay quiet and asked if the gendarme can prove this. The gendarme only shrugs, he didn't see anyone glowing. He arrested the girl for her sacrilegious conduct alone. The man in her company was a noble, so the gendarme couldn't bring himself to arrest him. He does, however, remember his name. The priest is huffing and puffing even louder now. It was magic, he screams. You must refer this case to the Inquisition. This witch was loose on the streets of the Empire's illustrious capital, seducing good men with vile charms. The girl stays quiet all the while. Her eyes are emerald green, twinkling with gold as she looks at you. And when she does speak, her voice is soft, like smooth velvet. Alis. My name is Alis, Your Honour. All I did was obey the noble gentleman's wish. He wanted my affection, right by the temple, and I dared not oppose him. I did not define my lot, did I? The wench looks up and meets your gaze as she says these words. Her eyes reflect the candlelight in the dust, sending sparks of gold dancing across the walls. She definitely is magic. The gendarme stands awkwardly by the door, sighing. The priest goes off on another rant. You tell him to be quiet. The day is not over yet. You must decide how to resolve this unusual case on your own. The law says a judge must investigate all circumstances related to a case. You know the name of the nobleman who was seen with his girl in the throes of passion. The gendarme was afraid to question him, but you are a future nobleman. So I'm going to go talk to the nobleman, I think. Malice, true death. I mean, this one we've unlocked, but it takes away willpower. It gives us manipulation and theology, which we don't really want or need, and it kills her for some reason. What's carnality? Sex. So I think we go for this, because it gives us diplomacy, which is a stat we can use, and it seems to, you know, not lead to her dying, which seems to be a good thing. On the balance of probabilities. Sir Diego El Catois, the nobleman seen with the girl in question. Delicately hint that his reputation will be safe and promise full confidentiality. It must be Judge Brante. He meets Sir El Catois with a dignified greeting, and they start questioning him on the case of Alis the harlot. Is it true that the two of them ended up in the Temple Park because this was Sir El Catois' rush? Mrs. Betty remembers last night he was quite inebriated and determined to have a good time. Would Sir El Catois say his mind was clouded by the young woman? Haven't you seen the lass yourself, sir? How could anyone ignore her? Anything suspicious? Yes, it was so she could see his every desire, and he was happy beyond measure in her embrace. It felt like the gods themselves were smiling at him, Sir El Catois, and yet perhaps it was merely the wine and her beauty, and nothing else. He thanked the nobleman for his honesty, and promised to keep his statement a carefully guarded secret. He sentenced the harlot for 2 days in the pillory for defiling a place of worship with her poverty. We find no reason to refer Alis to the Inquisition, however. Right, case closed on Alice's file and put it in the archives. Seems fair. Major events take place while you're busy living your life. Firstly, Cornelius Tempus is no longer the great Chancellor of the Empire. He has been ousted and sent back to his province. The replacement is Archduke of Monia, the same monarch who sought to shut down the college. The most powerful lord in the realm finally convinced the Emperor that his brother Cornelius was giving too much freedom to the lowborn. So even the Archaeans are fighting between each other. Now the policy of the Empire will be reversed. Many fear that the new great Chancellor will destroy the imperial code of laws and other achievements of Cornelius. There are cautious rumours among the people. They say that the new great Chancellor is going to revoke the right of the common lot to be ennobled by the mantle. Secondly, Magra, your homeland, now has a new overseer, Gaius Tempus, the other brother of Emperor Uther II. Usually the overseer of a province is Archduke. After all, it makes sense for the province's most powerful noble to impart the Emperor's will to the locals. Yet now this age-old tradition has been broken, and to no one's surprise, Archduke Tarquinius Melanidas is absolutely furious. Gaius Tempus used to be the main supporter of his brother, former great Chancellor Cornelius Tempus. The nobles at the Emperor's court say this is a stratagem by the Archaean gentry and want Gaius removed from the court affairs along with Cornelius. Either way, Gaius Tempus and Tarquinius Melanidas will be at each other's throat over the province. This does not bode well for the future. One thing is clear, Magra, your hometown, is about to face great changes. Somehow Commoner's power went back up. And things got more peaceful. That doesn't make sense to me. But, okay. The capital is preparing for a great celebration, the coming of age of Gerion Tempus, heir to the throne. The streets are being cleaned, the lowborn merchants are gone from the squares, and flags and flower garlands have appeared on the building. By the Emperor's decree, everyone will celebrate for the next 3 days. Mandatory celebrations all around. How much longer does my laptop have, battery-wise? 2.28. I think that's 2.28 hours, and not 2.28 minutes. Friend's brown hair is unusually well combed today. He waves to every girl you see on the street as you pass. They giggle shyly and some of them wave back. Did you see that, pal? Look at that beauty. He just smiled at me. And this is what I call living. I just love parades. Tempest royal family observes the slowly approaching parade from the balcony of the Imperial Palace. They're joined by Emperor's highest dignitaries and provincial overseers. You see Emperor Uther II with your own eyes there, high above, yet so close. Students come to a halt at the balcony and salute the Emperor with the mottos of the college and the academy. Join the college students crying, learning is strength, learning is will. The Emperor raises his hand in a gesture of benevolent greeting. His voice echoes across the square. I accept your gratitude, my loyal subjects. I take pride you wield your knowledge and valor in service of the Empire. All who are worthy will be ennobled by the mantle by my grace. The future nobles around you cheer the Emperor's word, but their jubilation gives way to murmurs of discontent when Archduke Monroe, the new great Chancellor of the Empire, steps onto the balcony. Everyone here remembers all too well how the Archduke attempted to shut down the college by force. Still, the Archduke is a de facto leader of the Arcanian gentry. He's a force to be reckoned with, even for the Emperor, and so he's a great Chancellor now. Hail, your Emperor, common folk! Be forever obedient and grateful for the good graces you do not deserve by birth. The Archduke does not even bother to hide his contempt for the gathering below. Booed by the crowd, he rejoins the dignitaries in the back row. You notice one of them, a slender, elegant figure under an emerald banner with a black snake. She is Octavia Melanidas, daughter of the Archduke of Magra, whose father has just been ousted. Now that's new. You notice Octavia too, eh? Our Archduke Melanidas set his daughter in his stead. That's a sign of disrespect for the Emperor if I've ever seen one. Is he so enraged because he's no longer the overseer of Magra? I mean, you can imagine his surprise. It's never happened before. But then everyone goes silent. A young slender Arcanian with a shy smile comes forth. There are whispers in the crowd. That's Prince Gerion, heir to the throne, ward of Cornelius, promise and hope to the common state. To the left of Gerion is his younger brother Flavius. He is baffled at the sight of the parade below, too young to process what he is seeing. May the twins be kind upon you, my future subject. I promise to repay you in kind and help you prosper in your loyal service to the Empire. Another figure steps into view. He's arcly and elegant dressed, and his mantle bears the Tempest colours. He raises his arms without to make a speech. Hey look, it's that Gaius Tempest, the Emperor's brother, and a new overseer of Magra, by the by. Seems the Arcanian elders want him as far from the throne as possible, just like his other brother Cornelius. Those two have been promising too many freedoms to commoners like you and me. Long live Prince Gerion, students of the college, cadets of the academy. Time and again you have proven yourself to the Empire by word and deed. Today is a day of great celebration, and in honour of Prince Gerion you must ask the Emperor to guarantee forever the right of distinguished common folk to be ennobled by the mantle. So ask now. Is this what we're doing? Is this really what we're doing? Imperial subjects, what the Emperor's brother wishes to say is that you must always remember that you owe your status to the Tempest dynasty. The Emperor accepts your gratitude and sends you off with his blessing. You may leave now. Yeah, we're in the capital. That's not what Gaius Tempest said. Let the Emperor hear us. The law! We ask for the law! So, there's a fucking riot happening. Follow the order. We literally cannot do. So, fuck it. Let's demand our rights and get that valor. The law, the law, the law. Abide by the support of your fellow students and cadets. You move through the square and urge others to join you. Thomas walks by your side, waving his arms wildly, inciting others to shout along with you. The law! The law! You, Thomas, and other vocal students and cadets gather in the very centre of the square. Academy officers are trying to shout you into submission and order you back into the procession, but they are barely heard above your chant. Still, some submit and form back into the columns. But the impassioned chant continues, and you are at the very heart of the chanting crowd. The Imperial Guard Cavalry Regiment emerges from the palace. They start slowly advancing on the crowd, hands on their swords, pushing people out of the square. You have to stand your ground, so you start giving orders to defend the cobblestone beneath your feet with your fellow future nobles. You assemble into a double chain formation around the centre of the square. Is it strong enough to prevent the Imperial Guard from reaching the very centre? The commoners go running left and right away from the horses, but the cavalry stops when it reaches your double chain. They cannot break through unless they are ordered to attack, and so they halt and wait for orders. The horses paw at the cobblestones, the cavalry swords drawn, ready to come crashing down upon your heads. It is a standoff between the armour-clad cavalry and the unarmed students and cadets. So we're having the proper university experience of marching on a protest and getting our heads bashed in by the local authorities. Emperor Uther appears on the balcony, joined by his brother Gaius and heir to the throne. With a gesture, the Emperor calls for attention. The square falls silent at the sight of the sovereign. My subjects, I have heard your request. There is no need to repeat it again and again. The great Imperial Council shall review my brother's proposal. Now follow your lot and obey my will. Continue to parade and sing the praises to the ever-merciful Prince Jerian. The words from the Emperor are enough to quell the commotion in the square. The standoff ends and the cavalry withdraws. It's a very, very good non-answer. Well, would you look at that, old friend? We did it. We stood up for our noble right and we won. That's the Emperor's word. That's what our courage can do. The Emperor never gave his word. He only promised to review the proposal. This time, however, no one wishes to disobey the orders from on high, and so the students line up into columns once again. The bout of defiance is in the past now, and everyone resumes a festive parade through the city streets. Well, we made a statement. Your studies at the college come easily to you. Only now do you realise the importance of all the lessons you had to endure as a child at father's expense. Month after month, you study the judge's trade down to the smallest details, growing more confident in your new calling with every lecture. But there is more to your education than the judge's trade and imperial law. You also learn manners and courtly etiquette and poetry and composition and even fencing. On some days you go with Thomas to a deserted patch of land to practice with the sword. And finally the day of your judge's exam comes. You send the test results to father and he replies with an appointment to a judge's office at a prefecture of Magra. Now you have a new life and a new profession back home. You return to your hometown as a judge. It's early morning at the great temple of the twins. Your heart skips a beat as you step inside the temple. Feels like that day from your childhood again. The priest is standing at the altar and the temple is divided into two halves. But you're no longer a frightened little child anymore. You are now a grown man who is about to become a noble. The floor on the common side is there to cause pain. You feel the jagged edges even through the soles of your boots. The pain marks your final few seconds as a commoner. The priest stands before you. You kneel again, and now there is warm, smooth marble under your knees. You hear the words spoken above your head. From this day forth, your lot is strength and will. From this day forth, you will rule and fight and pursue the arts. Now rise, noble. Place your lips on the smooth steel of the sword. And when you rise again, you realise that the trembling you felt ever since your first sacrament is now completely gone. You arise a new man, your every motion now uncannily accurate, your thoughts surprisingly fresh, your muscles ready to face a fight. This day feels worthy of a poem, and now you can compose one if you wish. You touch your back, the mark of the lash from your previous sacrament is gone, completely erased, forever. You hurry from the sacrament, back to your room at the college. Your father's gift awaits you there, a sword, your very own sword. Now to celebrate, all college students are invited to the college tournament, then a party. The sword feels wonderful in your hand, a promise of future victories. I hope we've got enough to win this. I think we might need 20. But 17 is pretty high. The raven-haired, black-eyed Octavia Milanidas, the daughter to the Archduke of Magra, has graced the tournament with a visit. She's wearing a dress of emerald green, her austere hairdo immaculate, surrounded by her ladies in waiting, all beauties in their own right. When a noble enters a tournament, he must announce the name of the lady his honour he's fighting for. Many shout the names of their loved ones in the stalls. You know that many would fight for Octavia Milianidas, but the onus of responsibility is too great. You take a few justs with the swords, warming up for the fight. Soon it's your turn. All eyes are on you now. The young lady Octavia hides her face behind the hand fan, yet her eyes watch you with curiosity. Okay. You go for that. Wait, we have to do this to win? I kind of want to do that. We definitely won't want to do this. Apparently, we only win if we fight for our father, which seems dumb. But I really want to win. And at least you'll be intrigued. So yeah, I think we go for this. Which is a bit weird. Not fighting in a lady's name, but whatever. shirt is soaked with sweat, the hilt of your sword feels slippery in your wet fingers. Still, you prevail in 3 fights in a row and prepare to face a new opponent. You know him well. He was mentored at the Prefecture of Eterna after you. He is an unusually quick and nimble fighter. Again and again you find yourself driven to the edge of the arena to avoid his jabs. Then, with a slashing fate, you draw your opponent's blood. Another victory. To your surprise, you are about to fight for the champion's title. You will face Jose Pelletier, the best fencer in the college, with 5 wins in this tournament alone. Well, we've got 4. The skill pales before the mastery is attained after months of grueling practice with the swords. He assaults you with a flurry of cuts, thrusts and jabs. You can barely rank in time to deflect them. But then you recall a bright moment from your childhood, your very first fencing lesson with father, the first man to teach you how to dodge a lunge. This memory comes alive in your mind. You stand more confidently now. You take a few steps back to catch your breath and study your opponent. This Pelletier is good at keeping his distance and following an attack with a defense, yet his movements are too learned, too mechanical. So you try a trick. First you pretend there is an opening in your defense. You rush him suddenly, then follow your assault with a feint. Then suddenly, the sudden unpredictable attack catches your opponent off guard. He jumps to the side, but not before the very tip of your sword catches Pelletier on the right shoulder. He is itching to continue the fight, but a patch of red spreads across the sleeve of his shirt. Victory! You salute the stores and dedicate this victory to your father, Robert Brante. Your fellow students pick you up and carry you to your stores as everyone chants your name. The winner's reward is a tournament ribbon, and Lady Octavia Melanidas, the tournament's guest of honour, will tie it around your sword herself. Crowd parts as the daughter of the Archduke of Magro walks towards you. All this time, Octavia has been watching you closely from behind her emerald fan. She ties the ribbon of honour around your blade. You've proven yourself admirably, Sir Brant. A worthy victory. Your father has every right to be proud. The son of a judge from Anziot. Who could have known we would meet one another here in the capital of the Empire? I must say I am amazed. I will remember your name. The eyes of the young Archduchess follow you even as you leave the arena victorious. Fuck off. Alright, we're graduating. It's kind of weird that we had to fight for our father to win, but I guess it makes sense. Ooh! Just before you leave the capital, you overhear something unusual on the street. Julius Diamant, Patrick Astinia, and one of the leaders of the New Faith will stand trial before a church tribunal. The Order of the Inquisition has accused Patrick Junius of patronizing blasphemous witness and disseminating heresy. The Holy Tribunal claims that Junius Diamant was scheming to free all witches and sorcerers from the collars that fettered their accursed powers. We already met one who we freed. And what's worse, that Patriarch was also accused of forming the Lotless, a dangerous secret society based in the Imperial capital. He probably did. Members of this society have been assaulting inquisitors and priests of the church, as well as freeing witches from the cleansing fire and helping them escape the holy law. Now the Patriarch must face the Holy Tribunal of the Inquisition in Eterna. By all accounts, this is a devastating blow to the New Faith, and the end of days for Junius Diamant himself. The Inquisition will make the most of this opportunity to rid the land of this unwelcome Patriarch who dared shake the foundation of the old faith. But then comes the sudden news of Patriarch Junius's reply to the Holy Tribunal. It is no less stunning than the accusation. These words are nothing but lies. I will say this to anyone who dares bring this accusation against me in person, but I want those hypocrites to bear the full weight of their responsibility for their slander against me, my flock, the Diamant dynasty and the Holy Order. I agree to stand trial before the Holy Tribunal, but I will face them on my own land and on my terms. Patriarch Junius has already received strong support from Patriarch Luke and many priests across Arknia. Parishes of the New Faith throughout the Empire are now speaking out in support of Junius Diamant. The Church of the Twin Gods is about to be rent in twain. The Inquisition has no choice but to revoke the trial in order to avert the coming schism. The new official stance is that Patriarch Junius has been wrongfully accused, and the Holy Tribunal will now apply more cautious judgment during any further trials against the followers of the New Faith. Following the teachings of Patriarch Photis is no longer seen as heresy by the Inquisition. Alright, so he called their bluff, and they blinked. The trial of Junius Diamant has been averted, but the divide within the Church is only deepening. The New Faith has directly challenged the Old Faith, and won. So Some say Junius Anointment all but pled guilty. Others believe the patriarch of the alleged rebellion against the church as well as the Inquisition is nothing but a ruse. There are also people who think the entire situation sounds like one of the secret chancellery's dirty deeds. One way or another, the patriarch of Vestinia and co-leader of the new faith remains at his post. Of how long and how will the old faith and new faith clash? Surprised that only does one. I'm surprised that goes in favour of the old faith as well. I would have expected that to go into the new faith's favour. So and Talarina rivers meet outside the city walls. You've barely left the capital since you came here all those years ago. A breeze is blowing on your face, and the bright noon sun hangs above the shining pillar. Your stay in Eterna has come to an end. You arrived here a boy full of hopes and aspirations, driven by your family's expectations and a desire to live your life as you saw fit. And now you have to leave, and this thought fills you with gentle sadness. Eterna did not become your home, and yet here you have finally found your path. Here in the capital you became a nobleman and a judge. Now you're one of the rulers, the warriors, the pleasure seekers, the creators. Those who spill their blood for the empire and family and honour. Those who keep honour and honour the age-old traditions. This is your lot now. You are to work in the prefecture of your home province as a judge. Your path to this goal was a long one, and your friend Thomas was by your side all the while. You fondly recall your walks through the streets of Eterna, your secret fencing lessons, your heartfelt discussions. You have no doubt your future back in Anziot will be full of glory. And then you recall the black, enigmatic eyes of Octavia Melanidas, an Archnean from one of those great dynasties, a woman whose beauty and majesty make you tremble. You heard she would be returning to the court of her father, the Archduke in Magra. Will you ever see her again? You'll meet father once more. He tends to hide his feelings, but not this time. After all, you have fulfilled all his hopes, succeeded in your studies, and continued your family's noble legacy. Many things must have changed back home by now. You recall your older brother Stefan. Now that you have been ennobled, you are practically equals at last. This means you should follow an old tradition and bring Stefan a gift, and so you head for the market district of Eterna. Soon you are busy trying out swords at a weaponsmith shop. There's a lot to consider for this gift. Stefan is taller and his shoulders are broader, which means the song must be heavier and longer. There can be no embellishments. Stefan would scoff at you if you bought him an extravagant weapon. At last you find a suitable sword, blackened seal, a subtle ornament of leaves on the blade, and a grip shaped like women vines. What are women vines? It resembles a seared sword of Magra beneath the silver tree. You choose a sheath with the same diligence. There, a light wooden frame bound in thin yet sturdy leather will make the blade easy to draw, and the buckle is sturdy enough. Leave the shop satisfied. He already has a sword, but I guess he can have two. You leave the capital the morning after Eterna, where you spent... Whatever, we've gone. The years of your youth have come to an end. The time has come to leave the capital behind and return to your family and new business in your hometown of Anziot. The years away from home were full of tumult and hardship. Your adult shoulders now bear the burden of your first life-changing decisions. Did you have the freedom to choose this lot for yourself, or was it your destiny all along, ever since your childhood years? All you can do now is follow the path that lies before you. I don't think I did too badly with that. Need to work on my diplomacy. It's still a bit naive, but I'm good at scheming. I'm good at fighting. I'm okay at speaking. Need to be a bit better, but still pretty good. What are the ones that a judge wants? It's diplomacy and valor. Okay, this is a really long time. This is like another 20 years, I think, of peacetime. And then we've got the revolt. Like, this is almost as long as this part, I think. Maybe slightly under. But I think... Wait, how old am I? I'm 20 years old. It's on the screen. It's in big, black, bold letters. I'm probably going to end the stream here for now and finish this off on Wednesday, or at least try to. My throat is getting pretty ragged. I've been streaming for over 6 hours. I think we leave it here.
A full adult now, I returned from the capital a changed man. Yet, my hometown was not the same as I had left it. Fate had difficult times in store for all of us.
Dear Pimp, I anxiously await your return, my son. You are the third judge in our bloodline, the pride of our family. Yet these are hard times for a judge. By the Emperor's decree, Archduke Tarquinius Milanidas is no longer the overseer of Magra. The new overseer is the Emperor's own brother, Gaius Tempest, and now our province has been split by enmity and strife between the Duke and the overseer. The nobles have split into two factions, and so too have the commoners. Some side with the Archduke, loyal to their liege and determined to follow the traditions of old. Yet many judges and officials are eager to side with Gaius Tempest as the new overseer. Compared to his brother, Cornelius, he is less radical and more cautious, but he too seeks to transform the empire and bring the estates to peace. Yet other Arcanians are outraged that Archduke Melanidas has been deposed. One among them is Dorius Otton, High Commander of Magra. Although Otton and his men are sworn to serve Gaius Tempest and to follow his orders, it is no secret that his loyalty remains with the Archduke. While Gaius and the Archduke are at odds, there has been no open confrontation yet. I fear their patience may one day run dry. As for the judges at the prefecture, every day we with more and more litigation between nobles and commoners. Yet there are no imperial laws that clearly formalise the rights of all three estates. Wisdom, honour and conscience are every judge's best advisors these days. You made the choice to serve the law, and you will have your work cut out for you. You'll answer directly to Prefect Augustus Elborn, a long-standing friend of the family. We need strong allies now more than ever. With the support of people such as you and I, the Prefect intends to alter the fate of our province. I'm looking forward to seeing you back in Anziot, Pimp. Alright. So, we could convict Commander Otton. Face the Noble Court of Honor. I don't know what that means. Maybe that's like trial by combat or something. Knight of the Serpents. The supporters of Archduke Miliandis take over the city. Oh dear. The rebellious citizens take control of Anziot. The Noble by the Sword. Oh, we want that one. We need reputation over 8 and wealth over 5. We need to not have the family in ruins and not be branded by dishonor. And we need to keep our unity up. The Brante family becomes hereditary dynasty of the sword, earning the favour of Overseer Gaius Tempest and a place at court. How's that different from this one? Reputation, wealth. I think that one's better, but we need to have a lot of reputation and a lot of wealth. You succeed your elder brother as the heir of the Brante family. The family falls apart. Unity gets under 2. Right, we've got to prevent that from happening. Family of means is wealth 10. If so, okay, so this one we need either reputation 10 or wealth 10. We need a lot of unity and some willpower to stop our mum from dying. And this is her final death, by the way. She doesn't get to come back. Robert adopts Gloria and she becomes a full-fledged Brante. We really want that to happen. Branded by dishonor. We really don't want that to happen. So we need to get rid of all the secret plots. We need to not kill our brother in a duel. We need to get the unity above 7. We need to not lose all our money. Patronage of the powerful. Gain a powerful patron. Or protect the common folk. I assume that these are mutually exclusive, but there's no evidence of that yet. The La Tari Ritual. Enigmatic ritual of